Hey everybody, hope you're having a good Wednesday. Thanks for joining me. Welcome here to the Hang Up on the Line. I'm at Dillahunty. Um, I imagine most of you that are already tuned in. There's going to be more people showing up shortly as they roll in. Some of you are well aware this is one of many call-in shows on this network. Mine just happens to be the Wednesday night show. On Thursdays in the afternoon, we have the Transatlantic Call-in show where you can call in and talk to trans folks to get the answers that you're looking for, to challenge them on their claims, or I don't know. You could try to be awful, but they will clobber you. And then on throughout the rest of the weekend, not only do we have new shows like one on Saturday now called the Devangelicals, but the Sunday shows during the day, and then there's a Sunday show after dark. Then there's episodes of Calling It Now and Cus I Wanna, and Mondays Skeptalk, and Tuesday is Chewed Gum. Skeptalk deals a little bit more with science stuff. So if you really want to dig in with like physicists and biologists about evolution or creationism, or I don't know, maybe UFOs, cryptids, whatever, you can do that on Mondays. And on Tuesdays, Chewed Gum is a great opportunity to call in and talk about how things like purity culture and religious proclamations about a woman's place and women's rights have negatively impacted women and sex in general. So, I mean, I have to throw the S word out there because as soon as I say sex, somebody's going to be like, ooh, I got to tune into that show. They're going to talk about sex, and that's great. And I agree. Go talk about sex. But this, I've been doing religious debates and stuff for, I don't know, more than 20 years. And I wanted a show where I could also talk politics when I felt like it. So after President Trump gave Iran one more week before he was going to destroy them, today he decided to extend that deadline indefinitely, which, as a friend of mine pointed out, is also called surrender. When you indefinitely extend your deadline with no compensation, that is literally surrender. Because you're already in a position where you can change your mind and change your position whatever you want to, but indefinitely, yeah, that's surrender. It was a complete chicken out move. Once again, it's that's how you can tell it's Tuesday. It's Taco Tuesday. Trump always chickens out. There we go. It's weird because Kash Patel is evidently falling apart and suing about claims that he thought he was fired and told people he thought he was fired and freaked out, and that he's been repeatedly intoxicated to the point where people have had to bang on his door and bring in a SWAT team with a battering ram to potentially get him out of his drunken stupor in a room, and unexplained absences and all that stuff. He went on and said all of this is completely untrue. And a reporter said, if it's not true, then why is it stated in the lawsuit that you just filed? And at that point, they said that the reporter was being rude. You're being rude asking a question like, yes, cool. I am, though, staying away from the news a little bit today. We have a reptile expo coming up this weekend. Arden and I, if you don't know, own Epic Loot Exotics. We breed 20 species of snakes and about 10 species of lizards, and we're going to work a reptile expo this weekend. I'll have snakes to sell. And so I've been working on that. And also, today is one of my best friends' alive day. After several heart issues, he spent months in a coma. And today is the 7th anniversary of the day that he came out of that coma. It was very strange. I've talked to him several times about, what he experienced and everything else. And his sister kind of played a joke on him when he woke up and told him that he'd been out for like 3 years or something, even though it had only been months. And I love the fact that they have the kind of relationship that, one of them could be in a coma for months and the first thing the other one does is fuck with them, and they wake up. I mean, that's got to be, that's how you know that people genuinely cared and are so happy that you're back. He's one of my all-time best friends. We were roommates. I was at his wedding. We hang out, we play games together, and I love him to death. And I'm really glad that he recovered. He's also an atheist. He's the roommate I talked about before, who, when I was still a Christian, I was looking for a way to convert him. And the incredible epic failure that I experienced while trying to figure out how to convince an atheist like him is how I ended up here today, at least part of it. I mean, I still did all the work myself and spent years in prayer and study and begging a God to give me answers. Today's question, depending on where you're watching the stream, is should we be Christians? And I'll extend that to say, should we be Christians, Muslims, Hindus, Scientologists, Pastafarians, Rastafarians? I don't know, whatever your particular religion is. I know that I only primarily care about whether or not it's true. I want to know if it's true. It's possible that there could be a religion that is true. And if it is, I might still not accept it as something that I should be a participant in. There might be a God, but that doesn't mean that I'm going to worship it. As a matter of fact, I think I'm pretty much opposed to the very concept of worship in any required sense. Like anything that would demand worship, I think just excluded itself from being deserving of worship. Worship and reverence is something that is kind of earned by the character of the individual, or if you go beyond worshiping or reverence for an individual, earned by the idea, the value of the idea. I've talked before about using the religion label and trying not to use it too broadly, because I would say I'm not religious in any real sense. There are people who would say everybody's religious, and I'm getting ready to do a video this month about how spirituality is nonsense. But this notion that everybody's religious, I suppose, since secular humanism was founded as a secular religion, the first manifesto even says that, one could easily argue that if I had a religion, it's secular humanism. And yet still, even if I were to claim secular humanism as my religion, there's no dogma, there's no tenets, there's no instructions, there's no individual, there's nobody in charge that I have to pay attention to. There's not a list of do's and don'ts. I don't have to tithe. It's just about I value these or this set of values. And if that's religion, cool. Then I don't have a problem with that. I like people who value values, especially good values. Valuing good values is that's valuable. But one of the problems with other religions is that many of them exploit our fears and concerns about death and dying. And as today's Sean's Alive Day, that made me really think about it for a little bit. We've talked before about how I think the world would be a better place if religions stopped making claims about an afterlife that it can't back up. Because death is a part of living, and it's the last part. And I think if we did a better job of teaching people the reality of death and dying, and the criticalness of maybe treating them right the first time, valuing people who are in your life right now, and never, ever suspecting, ooh, I'll get to make it up to them in heaven, or I'll get to, mend those fences after we're dead, or I'll get to see them again, so it's not that great of a loss. Religions set up false expectations, false hopes, and false grieving and comfort. They often discuss health problems, both physical and mental, as if they are somehow supernaturally derived and demonic or worse. So while I'm interested in the truth, if you have a way to demonstrate the truth of your religion in some kind of, evidence-based argument, 720-619-2288 is the number, and there's a link down below where you can go to Call In Studio and connect through your browser if you don't want to actually, or you're not able to call in. And if you're not able to demonstrate, like there's people who will call in and they're like, look, I can't prove it to you. And I'm like, nobody's said prove. We just want you to, this isn't math. I just want you to give an evidence-based argument that you think we should accept. Like whatever you're going to present should be, this was enough to convince you. Why isn't it enough to convince us? And we can have that conversation. But if you can't dig in on the truth of your package of beliefs, then maybe it would be good to dig on the value of your package of beliefs. And so if you don't think that you can actually demonstrate that your religion is true, but you think you can demonstrate that there are benefits to being a member of your religion that we're missing out on, and you can demonstrate those, then I'm definitely interested as well. Joining me tonight on the show is one of the co-hosts of our new show here on the line called The Devangelicals, and I'm going to let her give you all the details on her journey, and then we're going to take calls and have fun. Everybody, please welcome Thinker.
Hey, Matt. Thank you so much for having me on tonight. I'm excited. Huge fan. I'm Thinker and I host Deconstruction Lives on TikTok. I've been a missionary. I'm a pastor's kid. I was a Christian for 28 years. Um, yeah. And I started deconstructing accidentally because I was trying to get closer to God and trying to learn his name. Yeah, I did not want to leave this God, but it sort of started happening as I started studying the
Mm.
Bible. And I went through like a moment of anger, disappointment. And so I started hosting lives, asking questions, and just started talking to Christians and realized that I don't match any part of this God or any part of this religion. Learned that the God that I was raised to believe was the God that created me was the same God that condoned slavery, patriarchy, genocide, child sacrifice. Like it really shocked me as I met the God. And I actually started identifying as atheist probably a year and a half ago.
Oh, wow.
Yeah, yeah. And
Yeah,
then
that's
I've been having fun having conversations with Christians.
that is, I mean, everybody's path is different, but I mean, it sounds like you and I both fell into this accidentally because all I was trying to do, I never had a bad experience
Mm,
with church. I never got mad at God. Um, I wasn't abused. I just believed it from the age of 5 when I walked down the aisle at the revival at Gashland Baptist Church in Kansas City, Missouri, and participated with my family the whole time. And eventually, I needed to figure out. I have an atheist roommate, and I'm worried that he's going to go to hell. And how do I fix that? And that's the path that led me to accidentally finding my way out. It was there, you were trying to learn the name of God, but what was the motivation behind that?
My parents taught me that the God would reveal his name the closer
Mm.
you get to him. And so I had a conversation with my younger brother. He said, I don't think God likes Black people. And I said, I think you're right. I said, I think you're right. And we had a conversation. So I said, I'm gonna figure out who this God is. I'm gonna figure out the answer to that question. And I shit just started unraveling. I found the God's name too, and it's like, well, it's interesting.
Did you find out whether or not he likes black people?
Oh, he doesn't.
He doesn't like anybody, as far as
Doesn't
I
like
can tell.
anybody. Yeah,
Yeah.
yeah,
Uh,
yeah.
it would be, it's one of
He
those
likes
things.
himself.
Yeah, if anything, if he exists at all, he seems to be really, really private. I think the strongest arguments against any god like this are versions of the divine hiddenness argument. As a matter of fact, I'm in negotiations right now for an upcoming debate where I'm gonna basically defend a version of divine hiddenness. And by the way, if the organizer happens to be watching, I know you sent me an email, Miles, and I'll get back to you as soon as I can. I'm just busy working, but yeah, it's we're half joking, by the way. I mean, I don't think there is a God that just loves himself and doesn't love people. I just think that
Yeah.
all the claims about these gods, all the different versions of the Christian God, the biblical God, the Jewish God, all of them, to me, they strike me as this represents some person's
Hmm.
best thoughts on what God might be.
Yeah.
And then each each group of people seems to run around going, "Oh, I like that view. I like that view." And that doesn't mean that you're in agreement with it. It doesn't mean that you and that God or that version of a God agree on everything. People also like to be kind of, oh, you got this wrong, but God got it right. And so
Mhm.
you're a little bit of you're a sinner, but you're not the worst sinner. You're still able to be redeemed. And so that explains kind of the psychology behind, well, if I'm just picking a God that I like, why would I pick a God that doesn't let me do the things that I like? And maybe it's because somewhere you understand that the things that you like to do aren't necessarily good for you.
Mhm.
I'm a diabetic. I will eat the hell out of some sugar. It's a bad idea. I'm not, if I was picking a God, I'd pick a God that let me eat whatever I wanted without any consequences. But I might pick a God that convicts me of the things that I already know I'm doing wrong.
Mhm.
We didn't need a
Yeah.
God to tell us murder was wrong.
No, but believers think you do. Um, One thing that I did learn is that there were already nations established that had these laws, these moral standards. And but I was taught that I needed Jesus in order to be a good person and that I was wicked from birth. And I started realizing like, man, I have to constantly remind myself that I'm born in sin, I can't get right, I'm evil and wicked from birth, I'm speaking negatively to myself all day long and saying, repenting in my mind all day long for like thought crimes. And I had no peace within myself. And I started to recognize that the religion was actually teaching me self-hatred,
Mm.
um, hate of different groups in society. Like if you don't pray the way we pray, because I was raised Kojic. Have you heard of Church of God in Christ? Um, I was raised Church of God in Christ, and we were taught that we were the only ones who had it right and the only ones going to heaven. Everybody else, especially Baptists, was going to hell with gasoline draws on because they would go to church on Sunday, smoke a cigarette in the parking lot right after church. So we were told that we were the only ones going to heaven.
Mm. I remember, so I was Southern Baptist, and primarily, I mean, we also went to Pentecostal churches on occasion. I've always loved music and theater and stuff, and so I was a big fan of Petra and Carmen. And granted, I'm old, so we're talking, early '80s, mid '80s. Um, and so we'd go to Pentecostal churches because they would have the more fun services, uh, and you'd get to see the
Charismatic.
concerts there.
Yeah. Did you do speaking in tongues?
We did not. That was specifically more of a Pentecostal thing than a Southern Baptist thing.
Okay.
I think I was taught that um, there were people who genuinely spoke in tongues, and they were, there's a gift of the Spirit, but that the Pentecostal church, by expecting people to do it, were actually heretical because the Bible doesn't say this is something that's going to happen to everybody. Um,
Okay.
and I had a friend who stood there with his pastor, like when he was 12 or 13, and he was up there with all the other teenagers, and they were expected to speak in tongues. And he looked at the pastor, as actually a friend of a friend, so who knows how accurate this is. But he looked at the pastor and he says, I don't know what to do. And the pastor said, just fake it. We all do. And I was like, I know that there's no way to demonstrate that any part of that story is true. And yet I can absolutely believe it because there were things that we would admit to ourselves and each other in private that you wouldn't admit publicly. And we know
Mm.
this is true with like Mormons they are the sweetest, nicest people, and they never have a problem. Ain't nothing ever been wrong with any Mormon until they find their way out and become a former Mormon. And then they'll tell you about all the stuff that went wrong, there. But your point, the issue is to be a good representative of Christ in the church.
Yeah, you're playing a role.
Right.
And I didn't recognize all of the issues until I left either. And I say to myself now, like, I can't believe I thought this was the thing that I needed in order to be a good human, or I believed that this is the thing that was going to bring peace into the world. And now I'm looking at it and I'm like, holy shit, this is like the most illogical. Like I was believing that I was speaking in tongues and that the God was giving me prophecies through the tongue. And it took for me to like stop and read Acts 2 on the day of
Yeah.
Pentecost. And I was like, wait, they were speaking real languages? And
And that's the thing is that it a lot of it depends on who you talk to and which parts of the Bible they want to focus on and in what ways, because there's a couple different views about speaking in tongues. One is that you're speaking heavenly languages, and others is that you would be able to speak in earthly languages.
Mm.
Um, and what you tend to hear you don't hear anybody speaking earthly languages that
Yeah.
I've heard claims of people speaking earthly languages that they supposedly never knew about or were never taught. I don't believe them, and I don't know how you demonstrate that. But most of the time, when you see somebody speaking in tongues, it's and it doesn't have any of the hallmarks of what we would describe as language.
Mhm.
Nobody seems to be able to come up with any. I mean, you can record it.
I
Go
did.
ahead, try to translate it.
I
My buddy
did.
Jerry DeWitt can
I
still speak in tongues.
I did that. I had a video of me and I uploaded it to a translator app. This is like early on in my deconstruction. And now I've read Acts 2 and I'm like, it's supposed to be a real language. So I uploaded it to a translator app and it was straight babble. And I was like, oh my gosh. But mind you, we were taught that we were made to tarry for the Holy Spirit at a young age. So I believed that I was baptized with the Holy Spirit and the gift of tongues at 12. So I
Mm.
had been doing this since I was like 12 years old, thinking that, this is the way to talk to God. And yeah, it's interesting the different ways that people view speaking in tongues, view relationships with Jesus, who Jesus is or who God is. And I have a friend who says that there's no two believers on earth at the same time, or no two Christians, two same Christians on earth at the same time, because everybody Bibles their beliefs and everybody has their own individual Jesus or their own individual God. And I see six different Jesuses in the Bible when I'm reading the New Testament and studying it. I think there's six different Jesuses, maybe seven. Because as we were talking about,
Guess it depends on how many authors there were.
exactly, yeah. Because I agree that I think the Bible is just a collection of texts that were written by men from their perspective of what they consider to be divine or a God, um, which is why it says it's inspired by God.
Yeah.
Um, yeah, but
That's a
unfortunately,
way
people,
out. You know,
yeah,
if you claim to have a book from God and you find a mistake in it, well, that's the end. But if you have a book that you think is inspired by God and you find a mistake in it, well, that was a scribal error. That was somebody misunderstanding. And I'm like, hang on. If God is the all knowing, or we don't even have to go to Omnimax, we can just be like, if God is vastly more knowledgeable and wise than any human, and if God is vastly more powerful than we can even begin to imagine, and God knows what's going on, where is he?
right.
Why? Like, if I was God, there's no way I would let this constant confusion and misrepresentation of who I am and what I want continue. There wouldn't be multiple translations and modifications to my book. There wouldn't be a book. I would not be revealing my character or my thoughts in languages that change and die out.
Hmm.
Um,
They're flawed humans with agendas.
yeah.
Yeah.
And I certainly wouldn't let people be like, oh, for 1999, I can get you a prayer cloth containing the tears of Jesus. I would strike that son of a bitch down right away.
Yeah.
Be like,
Yeah.
no, you don't get to do that. You don't get to claim, you know, and it would be really nice because there would be constant evidence that I exist, because anybody that falsely claimed to speak on my behalf, I would just eliminate them from the world. I would take them to some place, I'm not going to hurt them,
Hmm.
but I'd put them somewhere else. And
Yeah.
yet, and there would be no such thing as non-resistant non-belief. Um, and if somebody like me was doing what I'm doing, I would show up because I would know that, or that God should know that I'm sincerely wanting to understand this and I'm pointing out logical fallacies. It's not my fault that the arguments for God are fallacious, that they're without supporting evidence, and that all of it seems to be faith in the sense of gullibility. Like,
Yeah.
I was gullible. My IQ didn't go up when I found my way out. I might be colloquially smarter because I know more things than I knew when I was young, but I was gullible was the issue. And it's not for those of you out there who are confused, you're watching and you're absolutely convinced that you're not gullible, that you have something true and real because of what you've experienced. Call in and let us know because it's entirely possible that Thinker and I both got it wrong. We might have missed something. There might be some argument or evidence that we're unaware of. But in 20 years of doing this, the closest we ever get is, okay, I'm going to tell you why I think you should believe. And then they tell, and we point out the fallacies, we point out the problems, or we point out the things that aren't true. We point out that those arguments, if you changed whether they're about your version of God or somebody else's version of God, wouldn't convince that person and shouldn't convince that person to switch gods. Then all of a sudden it becomes, well, I can't prove it to you. Or worse, they'll say, oh, there's no way to prove God. Then why do you believe? If there's no way to demonstrate, like I try not to believe things that can't be demonstrated.
Yeah.
I might suspect they're true, but if you ain't got a way of showing it, I definitely don't have a justification to claim I know it.
Or they'll start blaming you for you not believing what they're saying. And you can't understand because it's too amazing and you just have to have an experience and you need spiritual eyes or, you can't understand it because you don't believe you're lost or your church hurt when they fail at providing a logical explanation for why we should believe it. And that's why I host my streams, right? I, there's over what 2.5 billion Christians in the world, um, more Muslims in the world. Someone might have a logical explanation, right? Or,
Yeah.
some way of helping us see why we should believe this claim that there is this omniscient creator that created everybody that we should worship. I don't understand oh, he created you, so you should worship it.
Yeah.
Why?
That's like I agree. So for example, amongst the Ten Commandments, honor thy father and mother. Um, I have no problem with the concept of being respectful and honorable towards people we value and are deserving of it. But it's undeniable. Some parents are incredibly shitty and
Mhm.
undeserving of any respect or attention.
Exactly. Yeah.
Um, and an instruction to do it no matter what. I mean, I think we could have known something was wrong with Cosby when he said, "I brought you in this world, I can take you out." But that same mentality might have led to other issues of kind of, hey, we're
Hmm.
gonna we're gonna oversimplify things, and I'll just roofie you, and let me take what I want.
Hmm.
I think, um, well, like you said, there's billions of Christians on this planet, billions of Muslims on this planet, and to date, not one of them has produced a God. Not one of them that I'm aware of. If I missed it, I missed it. Call in and tell me. Not one of them has made an evidence based argument for the truth of their claims. It is, I have this experience. That's great. I had experiences.
Hmm.
I had experiences um, that I might never have been able to explain. That if I can't explain them, I don't get to use God as the explanation. I
Exactly.
mean, worst case, it's just I don't know.
And that's okay to say, right? Like, but for them, I don't know, feels like a rejection or um that's the thing that's gonna send you straight to hell. I don't know.
Yeah, I think there are people who have been kind of overly manipulated by this notion of, respect your elders, respect the ministers, respect the people who know more than you do, without ever demonstrating that they, in fact, know more than you do. I
Hmm.
mean, there's not a single preacher, there's not a single theologian on the planet that has ever demonstrated that the subject in which they are professing expertise is in fact real.
Mm.
Their expertise is no different than my expertise on MCU characters. You know, I can
Yeah.
talk all day about what's going on and what's getting ready to happen. And oh, we're heading towards Avengers Doomsday. And there's this and this, and I'm expecting that. And here's how this works. And here's, you know, oh, are we going to see Wanda? And is she going to do the No More Mutants line? I can go on and on for days. Doesn't mean the MCU is real. And there are Bible experts who are believers, and there are Bible experts who are not believers.
Hmm.
We have some of them. Justin's on the channel, Dalton's on the channel occasionally as well. But the weird thing is that if you have experts in your holy book, and some of them believe it and some of them don't, you would think that those experts would have the easiest time of coming to an understanding of
Hmm.
whether or not belief was warranted. It could
Yeah.
be like, oh, it says this right here. And I think Paul Gia has one of the best responses because he had a little jingle he plays and a coffee mug he holds up that just says, "For the Bible tells me so." The fact of the matter is, there are people who just believe what they were taught, and it tends to be for the feels.
Yeah. And I tend to find like even biblical scholars who do believe it, um, they have to detour away from what the text actually says in order to defend it when speaking to biblical scholars who don't believe it. They can't stick to facts. They can't even stick to the text
Yeah.
when defending it. They reinterpret and redefine words in order to appeal to emotion, right? To appeal to that vulnerable um, part of spirituality or soul, and that they've not even been able to prove a soul or a spirit. And I think the most powerful part of this is the fact that it resides in the unknown and what we don't know.
Yep.
Yeah, that's their stumping ground.
Well, let's we've got lines open, but we also have callers starting to queue up right now. So we'll start taking some calls. Let me go through some details. First of all, if you're watching, hi, thanks. I'm Matt, that thinker. We're here to have discussions about, should we be a part of your religion? Is there good reason to think your religion is true? Is there a reason to think it's beneficial, even if it's not true? I mean, apart from, hey, I'm part of a group. I mean, you know, all kinds of clubs can benefit me. I'm not objecting to that, but a good reason to think that there's something of value. By the way, if anybody out there knows what is generally meant by spiritual or spirituality and thinks it's not nonsense, I really, really need you to call in and defend that, because I'm like 4 days, 5 days from sitting down to record a video called Spirituality is Nonsense. Um, and it's the culmination of all the years that I've done this and a bunch of research. But as always, I can be wrong. I might have missed something. So the number 720-619-2288, or there's a link down below so you can call in. Please remember, there's a delay. We're not trying to just be, assholes and interrupt and talk over and stomp and everything else. It's necessary for us to occasionally interrupt in order to get clarification on what you said. Maybe we didn't hear you. Maybe something needs to be defined. Maybe you're starting with one incredibly flawed premise and you're going to go 20 steps down the road. And then when we let you finish talking, we want to go back to that first premise and point out the problem. And then you do a correction that you spend 20 minutes explaining. We're just trying to have the kind of conversation that might lead us to at least understand what you think we missed. I'd love it if you could demonstrate that what you believe is actually true. But it seems that a number of the people calling in either will flat out tell you that they don't care if it's true, they only care, or they care more if it's comforting than it's true, or they'll say they care if it's true, and then when you ask them how do you tell if it's true, they don't have any kind of answer at all. I don't know how you do that. Like, I could tell you why I thought Christianity was true. I can tell you why the version of Christianity I thought was preferable to others, why I was taught Catholics are in a cult, why I was taught Jehovah's Witnesses are in a cult, why I was taught all of these. Here's what's biblical and what's not. It was a Bible-based thing. And I believed because the Bible told me so, and because the adults and the ministers and the people around me who knew and understand this stuff better than I did told me that it was true and to keep studying. And when I had experiences that I didn't know what they were, and the people around me told me it was the Holy Spirit, I had no other explanation. So I went with that. How do you not?
Yeah.
I'm a little kid.
But you were probably reading the Bible, right? And
Constantly.
studying it. What I'm finding is most believers today don't even pick it up and read it. They have no idea what's in it.
I not only have a tool that's open right now, that's always open. It's called e-sword.net, and it's an app you can get on Windows. And it has, I don't know, I'm just guessing it looks like 40 different Bible translations here, along with concordances and commentaries, Bible dictionaries, and ways to look it up in Hebrew, Greek, and Aramaic and get definitions and find out where this verse is used, or where this word is used. Like, this word is used 75 times, and it's in these particular verses. But also, like, this is the first Bible right here that I ever received. Um,
Oh,
this Bible was given to me uh, by Pastor Moody at Gasland Baptist Church in April of
April 69.
1969, one
Wow.
month after I was born. So 57 years ago, this Bible was given to me. It's, by the way, it's still in the box.
Wow.
It is a gift Bible that they give out to basically every new baby that's born. Um, and I have others laying around. I have study Bibles, and I probably got. If somebody needed me to swear on a stack of Bibles, there's a stack of Bibles within reach while I'm here doing it, and it won't change a thing.
Yeah. I think it's interesting that atheists probably have more Bibles in their house than believers do, at least those of us that actually study and read the thing. I have three of them right here.
Yeah,
Then
we,
and
we have
then
more Bibles that have actually been opened and read, probably.
yeah, Dr. Joshua Bowen sold me some of his Jewish commentaries. So I
Yep,
have a stack of Hebrew commentaries. I said Jewish Hebrew commentaries on my floor. Um,
I've
and
got
I
one of
got those, and it
Josh's
felt like
books.
Christmas when they came in the mail.
I got one of Josh's books right over there, but there's about 8 other things stacked on top of it. All right, let's get to calls. Let's see how today goes. As soon as we start taking calls, we'll get more. So we have, is it is it
1 second, I'll be back.
Tar Child or Star Child? She, they from Brazil.
Oh, am I in? Hello, greetings.
Hi, you're on with Matt and Thinker. Which, how do I say your name?
Tar, as in tar pit, as in the. I'm sorry, I'm a little bit nervous. I never did this, and I'm a little bit confused on how to proceed.
That's all right.
We have like a buzzing sound in the background that has to go. That's going to be completely unclippable.
Yeah, it's going to be very difficult hearing you with whatever that buzz is, but oh,
I don't know how to fix that. Usually I use Discord, and that deals with Chris.
Do you have head buzzing?
well, let's see if you can make the point you're trying to make, and see if we can answer you without the buzzing. So I'll end up muting you, but go ahead and make your point or ask your question, and we'll try and discuss it.
Yeah, my general idea is that there is a possibility for a religion that, instead of just straight up like giving guidelines, because Matt, I've seen some of your content and understand some of your points, that uh, from what I understand it at least, is that some people are willingly stupid. They willingly close their eyes to reality because their fantasy in their minds is pretty and they like it that way. And there's no convincing someone out of a position that they, didn't logic their way out into. So
Oh, I
if
disagree
our
with that,
religion,
but
yeah,
keep going. I disagree with that, but keep going.
if a religion is created to kind of either in early childhood teach kids the basics of, for example, empathy and without the obvious, like, misogynistic, patriarchal, racist, and other types of bad things, we could theoretically create, so theoretical. I have my own ideologies of religion for myself, but I imagine that a religion that encompasses those points would be a different one in a capacity. I imagine that that theoretical religion would hit the same points as Christianity, but told in a way that isn't vague like Christianity was. You know, because I was previously Christian, I deconstructed from that and currently trying different ideas of God or gods.
Well,
I
it says
was
here
of the
it
yeah
says here that you're a theist, and so you're saying
yeah.
so you don't currently have a specific God that you believe in?
I have the concept of a god, not really a specific entity. Like I imagine,
Is
I
that like Trump
believe
with a
that there is.
concept of a plan?
Yeah,
I thought the same thing.
I mean, I
I'm
don't
sorry.
think I could say I'm a theist unless I could tell you what God I believe in. Do you have a way of describing what God you believe in?
The God that I believe in is not an all-powerful God. It is like a very wise God, but not an all-powerful or all-knowing. It is
What
definitely more
reason do you
wise
have
than
to
any
think that,
human, and it's definitely more
that it
powerful than
exists?
any creature that has ever existed.
What reason do you have to think it exists?
Well, minor things, really, not big things, but it mostly is a thing for my own uh, confirming my mortality. I don't believe that it has different planes like heaven or hell, but I do believe that it kind of guides me in ways that only I particularly feel it, that doesn't align with any religion that I've researched.
I have I have some thoughts, and I definitely want to get thinker in here, but it sounds like to me that you've done the exact same thing with God that you're trying to do with religion. You suggested that it's possible we could invent a religion to teach kids the basics of empathy. But my response to that is, I don't need a religion to teach kids empathy. Um, it looks like you found out that the God you believed in and the religion you were part of, neither of them are true, and now you're trying to create a new God and create a new religion. And my response is, I don't need either a God or a religion. I can do just fine without them. As a matter of fact, probably better.
Mm, I see. Well, if you were to teach someone who's actively looking to commit harm, or someone that's like actively evil, but without like commits acts of evil through just straight up ignorance, such as like a trumper or someone that is like, because I have members of my family that do believe the things that they say because of those contradictory things that they believe in that Trump says. And how would you like go about convincing someone like that does not care for the well-being of others, that harming others is bad?
I mean,
You know?
children are taught that all the time. Like, I don't know. Do you have children, Tar?
Hmm?
Do you have children?
Not yet. No, I have a girlfriend and a baby on the way, but not currently. No.
Um, when you were a child, are you saying that your parents said, "Don't hit your cousin, God's gonna get you," or God doesn't want you to hit your cousin? Or did your mom and dad say, "Don't hit your cousin, that's not nice"?
Uh, well, they did two different approaches. My parents are separated by. I'd rather not go into parenting because my family story isn't really one that I
Well,
like
I'm
to
not
share on the
asking,
internet
I'm
and
not
things like that.
asking for I'm not asking for your, what I'm
Yeah.
asking is, how were you taught, right, to not harm another human being. We're taught this as children, right? When we're playing with our siblings, when we're playing with our classmates, we're taught to respect the autonomy and of our fellow humans as children. Are
Yeah.
you saying that they taught you, don't hit little Johnny, God's gonna get you? Or did they say, don't hit Johnny,
Yeah,
that's not nice?
they didn't teach me that though. They said, if you got into a fight, make sure to not let them get back up.
Okay.
That's what they taught me.
Okay. So
Don't let them get back up.
Let's completely ignore what your parents taught you because that's some bullshit.
Yeah, less is not a good idea to go with that.
However, I was raised in a Southern Baptist, predominantly Christian home, and I don't think my parents really spent much time saying, don't hurt people because God doesn't like that. Instead, my parents did what secular parents do regularly, and which I hope you do since you have a kid on the way, which is you instruct the kid on empathy. And it can be, would you want somebody to do that to you?
I see.
I mean, the foundation
the concept of karma is a better way to understand that. Not karma in the spiritual sense, but karma in the statistical sense. For example, if you're a dick to everyone that you meet, eventually someone's going to be a dick to you.
Yeah, except so karma, whether in the supernatural sense or the sense you're describing, doesn't necessarily happen. Sometimes people get away with being terrible for their entire lives. Some people don't face consequences. I'll point to our current president as one.
Yeah, I must admit I do not think that's true.
The example that I used to give is, let's say you're out at dinner and there are two kids at the other table and they are being obnoxious. They're getting out of their chair. They're running around. They're playing around other tables and disrupting other people's dinner. They're just not behaving in a way that is conducive to a civilized society. And the parents take those two kids home, and one of them, I'm going to mute you for a second so I don't get the buzzing real quick, but I'll unmute you when I'm done. One of those kids, they sit down and they talk to him and they try and engage in an empathetic sense, which is, hey, you're running around doing all of this at dinner. And first of all, we're there to eat and we're there to be together. And so we'd like it if, I think it'd be better if you were hanging out with us rather than running around. But also, how do you think those people felt when you were screaming, when you were running around, bumping into their table? What was that? What do you think that was like for them? And here's what we'd like you to do. We'd like you, every time you're getting ready to do something, especially if we're out in public and it's to someone you do not know, think about how you would feel, not just if they did that to you, but if they did something you didn't like to you. Because the kids might be having fun. They might be doing something they wish somebody would do to them. But so you need to spin it to think about if they were doing something you didn't like. Find out what your kid doesn't like. Like, I doubt they'd probably like it if somebody screamed in their face or grabbed them by the arm and moved them off to the side, that type of stuff. And so you get one kid that you teach about empathy, about sharing space with others, and about how their actions have consequences, not just for themselves, but on other people. That, you could ruin somebody else's night out or dinner or whatever else. And then the second kid, instead of engaging with that, they just said, God, the boogeyman, your dad, whatever, is going to beat the crap out of you if you don't behave in public. Or if you do behave in public, we'll give you a treat. One of them, the second one, is being given basically the carrot and the stick. And the other one is being taught the basics of empathy and about considering things from other people's perspective. There are two questions to consider here. If you go out to dinner and both of them behave next time, are they equally moral? does one of them have a moral sense, or is one of them just behaving for the threat of reward or punishment? And in addition to which of those kids is more moral, the second question to ask is, which of those kids is probably still going to behave if the parents and the threat and reward are removed? So I'm going to unmute you now.
First of all, ow, that beep is very loud. I'm sorry. I kind of lost my train of thought because of that. So what I understand from the idea of society itself is a constant threat and reward system. If you kill someone, you're going to go to jail, and that is a threat. If you work really hard, that's not really reality, but ideally, if you work really hard, you're going to get a wife, you're going to get a job, you're going to get, like, everything's going to go out for you. That is the reward. From what I understand, at least, I don't know a lot about this, so I might be a little bit misinformed. From what I understand, everything works in the system of threat and reward. Like, of course, there's a gamble of where you're born, what color your skin is, what, things like that that increase or diminish threats and rewards depending on situations that you can't control. But generally, it can be a good system to, like, teach someone that, like, still doesn't understand quite exactly what's going on, or doesn't care for what other people think or want or feel, only care about themselves, to be like, hey, if you hurt someone else, they may hurt you back, or someone else may hurt you.
But threat or reward doesn't actually teach care. It doesn't teach empathy. It teaches obedience, right? Yeah. Through fear. So are you wanting a society of humans who actually do stop and think about how their actions will affect the next human? Or are you just wanting a society of humans who obey as long as that threat or that reward is present? Because again, like Matt asked, once that threat or that reward is either debunked or removed, how is that society going to behave? There is no motivation for them to obey and not harm the next person, because it does not teach empathy. It doesn't teach care.
I muted you again, Tarcha, because, and I'm not saying you did this on purpose, but I specifically gave a lengthy example contrasting two different ways to get someone to behave, one of which teaches them about empathy and builds a moral compass and foundation, and the other one is just a threat. And I asked you which of those kids was more moral and which one is going to be moral when the parents aren't there. And instead of answering that, you just went on to assert that the idea of society is constant threat or reward. Well, that is the broken oversimplification, as Thinker was pointing out, that leads to obedience, but tells you nothing about moral or ethical behavior, doesn't do anything to inspire empathy or compassion. It is the reason why imprisoning people is supposed to be done for rehabilitation and to protect society from the people who are a threat, and the hope of getting them to the point where they can learn to not be subject to a threat reward system. We are all subject to some threat reward system. If I go barreling down the highway, I'm taking a risk of potentially getting a ticket that's going to cost me some money. There's some penalty to it. But also, I can drive responsibly, not because I'm afraid of getting a ticket, but because I know that the more irresponsibly I drive, the greater the risk is to me and to other people on the road of having a serious injury that's going to cost us all money and possibly lives. Mm-hmm. You don't have to be, I don't do everything I do merely because there's a threat or reward. And by the way, the government can impose threats and rewards for things that are grossly immoral. I was in the military for 8 years. If I was in the military right now, I would resign. I would not be following the orders of this administration. And you can't have military personnel doing that. And so I'd have to find a way out, or I would willingly be imprisoned for violating orders because I think that's more moral.
Mhm.
When you get an understanding of empathy, of game theory, design the system you're going to live in, not knowing who you're going to be. You know, is your system primarily reward punishment, or is your system primarily encouraging? Is the reward based on, hey, we're going to teach you how to exercise empathy and care about the other people? You skip past all that and just went to, here's my understanding of how things are. But what I was asking is, which one's better? Is it better to stick with threat and reward, or is there something better to do? Because you seem to think that only something like a religion can be used to teach somebody. This is how we got into the initial objection. You've created a God that you're comfortable with no seeming care of whether or not it's real. And you're trying to create a religion that teaches good when you can just teach good. So why not just teach good?
Okay, so I'm sorry for like skipping over what you said. I kind of have like short-term memory loss or a few issues with memory because of an accident that I had. But in any capacity, I think that for people that have little to no empathy, little to no care, the system of threat and reward is better. I think it goes from case to case. And to address your
It's
thing
so
about
wild.
like,
But we're talking about teaching empathy, right? We're talking about teaching empathy to children. Right?
I mean, it's strange because I'm asking questions to try to get to the heart of all this. I mean, you're calling in as a theist with no real God and barely a concept of a God, talking about a religion that doesn't need to exist. And then every time I ask you about it, you do this thing of, oh, what about the people who have little to no empathy? What portion of the population do you think suffers from little to no empathy? And what's your source for that?
honestly, I don't really have a source. But
Yeah, I know you don't. Because nobody who's thinking about how to build a moral system is pointing to the outliers, the exceptions to the rule. The overwhelming majority of people throughout history have had some degree of empathy. And if for no other reason than I'd rather not be killed, so it's good for me to discourage people from being killed. I'd rather not be, have this done to me. You can build a moral system completely absent of any empathy by using game theory to say, hey, what?
How would you do it though? That's the thing that I'm struggling with
my God.
in general with religion.
Go to YouTube and do a search for my name and the superiority of secular morality. And in that video, I will describe exactly how one could do this. It is trivially easy, and it is exactly what everyone has done forever. They just credit their religion with it.
1 second, I'm gonna do that.
Like, for example, would you like to live in a world where people can steal your stuff without any consequences?
Not really. No. Okay.
That is so weird.
Right.
No, second. I'm just like multitasking right now. 1 second. I'm looking you up.
Okay.
Dillahunty.
I don't need you. Okay. I'm tired of the buzzing. Go watch the video. Think about it and call us back. Not tonight.
Yeah, I'm
but
sorry.
sometime.
Go on.
No. Say good. We're saying good night. Thank you.
All right. Bye.
Bye, Tar.
Between the buzzing and Tar's brain was locked in on this just isn't possible. I don't know how you could do this.
without a God. I think it's like he said, because of his mortality, like he's afraid of death, he's afraid of not having a purpose, and needing these fairy tales to tie to his morality, like as a way to teach morality.
I don't know.
That's what it sounds like.
It is. It's difficult because it seems like, and this happens a lot, I guess, where somebody's raised in a particular religion and religion is doing something like, oh, religion is giving you moral instruction. Religion is giving you, some other instruction. And when you find your way out of it, um, oh, did I get her pronouns wrong? Her pronouns were she, they. So apologies if I got that wrong or if somebody in chat got that wrong. It is, yep.
For tar?
Yeah.
Oh,
Apologies.
sorry.
I don't think I got it wrong, but maybe somebody did. And either way, I'll apologize in any case. But if you've
I
been,
think I did. I think I said he.
Ah.
I apologize.
Yeah, we'll try and put them up at the bottom. But if you've only learned one way to do something, it makes sense that you might have difficulty imagining how it could be done some other way. But I think the reason I found that a little irritating is I described exactly what parents would do.
Mhm.
And that is at least one way to get started. And his only thing was, how do you do that if somebody doesn't value empathy? Well, first of all, there are ways and you can dig in, but that's like saying, how do you, so this is something he said that I disagreed with early on because he's like, he did the tired old canard of, you can't reason someone out of a belief they weren't
Mhm.
reasoned into. And I'm like, that's not true because first of all, they were absolutely reasoned into everything. There is no position that you hold that you weren't reasoned into. It's just that it might have been very flawed reasoning, but
Mhm.
it's still a thought process. You became convinced. And I don't think there's anything at all that fits that category. But whatever you came to believe, I don't know how to change somebody's mind with anything other than reasoning. And so you point out what the flaws are, point out the fallacies, point out the problems. That is reasoning.
I don't think they know that though. Just like they don't know that it's them guiding themselves. That they're a lot of them are just now learning that their brain is the reason that they have thoughts because they've, you know, been so used to their thoughts, believing their thoughts is a god or a demon talking to them. But because when he said that the God that he thinks he's engaging with now is guiding him in only a way that he would know, right? And after deconstructing from, I think he's I'm so sorry.
Oh, I
After,
did it again too. Wow. Yeah. Chat's eating me alive and you should.
yeah,
Absolutely.
so sorry.
Um, wow. All right. So let's not spend any more time
Yeah.
misgendering her. Um, there's a lot going on. And wow. Yeah, I did that probably a billion times now. Well, uh, thanks for calling to our trial. Call back again, and I will work extra hard to make sure that I do not continue to misgender you. But I also just want to say, keep thinking,
Mhm.
keep asking questions. Watch the uh, watch the videos on the instructions on stuff like that. But just think about what can I do, and why am I looking at exceptions to the rule instead of trying to find the rule? Yeah, I think. Yeah. All right. Well, let's not keep beating a dead pronoun horse right now. I hope she calls back, and we'll at some other point with some realizations and stuff. So, deep apologies, and thank you again for calling. We have a couple callers who are calling in to explain to us that what they think about spirituality. And Steve, pronouns are he, him, from California, is an atheist who says spirituality is real. Hey, Steve, how are you?
I'm good, Matt. Let me just start by saying I have a lot of admiration for you and Thinker, so I appreciate what you guys do.
Thanks.
Thank you.
Can you, I got a fly in here or a gnat or something. Can you tell us what spirituality is before we get to why it's real?
Yeah, for me, it's like abstract forces. I kind of like, I don't know if you know, if you're aware too much of Hermetic philosophy, the all.
No.
That's how you're not. Okay. So it's like a, I don't know if you know about Freemasonry, but they teach a lot about this in Freemasonry, which is basically the force of the universe, kind of like Star Wars, I guess would be the easiest way to say it, the force. What do you
Okay.
think about something like that?
I think that's a bunch of nonsense because I'm not aware of the force of the universe. So even if we go with that definition, what's the justification for thinking it's real?
If that force could make itself aware, or you could test it, would you lean towards it possibly?
I'll believe in anything that can be demonstrated to be real. You've just defined spirituality as roughly equivalent
Yep.
to the force from Star Wars.
Yep.
How can we demonstrate that what you're talking about is real?
Well, one of the ways that I've tested it, just so you know, I was a Pentecostal Christian for 45 years, broke away from it, thank God, or not thank God, but thank the universe, whatever. And I became atheist, and I'm more of a simulation theorist. I don't know if you know anything about that, but I have tested the way to, so synchronicity is one of the ways of testing it. Carl Jung, Swiss psychologist,
it took a long time. All I asked was how we can test it, and then you give me your backstory. You give me your backstory, and then you say synchronicity is one way to test it. I have no idea.
Synchronicity is one way.
Oh, I have no idea what you mean by synchronicity, because that's not a test that confirms the reality of something that exists in my mind. So what about synchronicity do you do to confirm that the force is real?
Okay. So you would write down, which I don't know if you ever heard of manifesting, using intentions to manifest.
Yes, it doesn't work. It's bullshit. It doesn't work. It's bullshit. It's pseudoscience. It's woo. It is that quantum crap that was in that movie, The Secret. Because it's never been demonstrated to be real. It is absolutely consistent with woo.
When you say it's never been demonstrated to be real, what's verification you have of that? Like,
can you cite any source, any peer-reviewed source that confirmed that it's real? No, you can't.
Peer-reviewed in the science community?
I'm sorry. Do you have some other way of proving something is real? What is it you're saying we should do to prove this is real?
Well, you said peer-reviewed. Peer-reviewed could be done in different types of communities, so I disagree with that.
Yes,
I think that there's probably a peer review on it.
If psychics are peer reviewing, they're not pointing to anything real. They're just affirming each other. I need empirical evidence for the claim.
Yeah, you can get that.
How did you prove that it was real?
You've never seen a psychic or anything doing something and then see the empirical evidence of it?
No, every psychic I've ever met or seen has either not been able to demonstrate that what they're doing is real or has been proven to be a fraud. I'm asking you, how do you demonstrate that the force is real?
I personally do it by writing down things and then getting confirmations later through other experiences that connect it. And that's called synchronicity.
Okay.
Synchronicity.
Like what? Okay. Give me an example of something you write down and then confirm it.
Well, how about this? Let's use tarot card because I use tarot. You know tarot, so it's something we can all relate to. Yes,
it's bits of paper. It's bits of paper that don't do anything.
Right.
But here's the weird thing, Steve. I asked you how to test this, and you said you do it by writing things down and confirming the synchronicity. Yeah. And then when I asked you to give me an example, you went to tarot cards. Tarot cards are not you writing something down. So what sort of thing would you write
create
down?
Your own tarot cards, yeah. I'm just using tarot cards. God. It's easier.
Can I finish a fucking thought at all before you interrupt?
Go ahead.
I'm trying to get you to demonstrate the truth of your claim. You said you do it by writing something down and confirming. Stop talking. You said you do it by writing something down and confirming it. what sort of thing would you write down and then confirm in order to prove the force is real?
Things that I desire.
Like, when I ask for a specific fucking example, do you think telling me things that I desire is remotely an example?
I didn't a specific example. Things I desire, such as a job with a truck and a free flag that says I'm the best guy. I'm being real specific and
Okay.
going a little bit extra on top, just because I would put that down
Awesome.
specifically
Awesome.
and get that.
Awesome. So let's say you wrote down a job with a truck and a free flag that says I'm the best. And then at some point later, you got a job with a truck and a free flag that says you're the best. How does that confirm that the force is real?
Well, if you do it over and over and over, then that's testing something.
No, it's not. No, it's not. No, it's not. You don't understand testing. How would you falsify your claim that you received that job and a truck and a flag because of the force? How do you falsify that?
How do I falsify it?
Yes.
Okay, you're leading me with all of these questions, but we keep going to a resolution.
No,
and
Steve.
We get detract,
no,
I can
Steve.
answer that question, I guess.
Steve, I don't need you. I'm not leading you anywhere. And I don't need you with your false bravado telling me you can answer the question. I need you to answer the question. If you write down, I want a job with a truck and a free flag that says I'm the best, and you get a job with a truck and a free flag that says you're the best, how can you demonstrate that the cause of that is the force?
There's a lot of variables. I see what you're saying, but isn't there a lot of variables when you test anything in scientific ways?
So basically, you're admitting now that you cannot demonstrate that the cause is the force, right?
Maybe not as I don't know. I think I could demonstrate that maybe there's a lot of variables that would make it not.
I'm sorry,
trustworthy.
Steve, I would recommend that you go do some research on testing and test methodologies, because the sort of thing that you're advocating for is exactly what the James Randi Educational Foundation tested repeatedly. We've tested, I shouldn't say we, I was there for some of it, but I was not part of the JREP. But they've tested psychics and remote viewers and everything else, dowsing.
Like the Monroe Institute?
I'm sorry, I don't know why you're fucking talking right now, but they've tested all kinds of things, and none of them have ever demonstrated anything remotely supernatural. I asked you how you demonstrate that the force is real, and you gave me an example of something that might be considered weak correlation, but correlation is not causation. You need to demonstrate the cause of you writing down something and it manifesting, and you also need to account for the things you write down that don't manifest.
I don't see how this is different from. I'm sorry. I don't see how this is different from a God. Like, why become atheist to go and believe in universe or force and still have to do the same work? Because when you are a believer, you're praying, right? You're still doing all the work that you ask of God, right? Well, essentially, you're praying to the universe when you're doing this manifestation, right? And you're writing down and repeatedly.
No.
You are.
It's more of a self-sovereign act. It's a self-sovereign act. I'm using vibration, energy, and frequency. And
you're not.
Really?
You're crediting that. You're doing the same thing that believers do when they give credit to a God. You just replace the God with the universe, because you're saying, I want a car, right? Same way a believer would ask, hold on. The same way. Wait.
I'm going to mute you if you interrupt her one more fucking time, and you won't get to say another thing until I decide. So just wait. Let her get to her point.
Thank you, Matt. The same way a believer would say, I want a car. They would go to their God and ask their God to bless them with a car. They get up, they go to work, they clock in, they get their paycheck, they make sure their credit is good. They go to the car lot, they get a car loan with an interest rate. And then they say, God bless me with a car. Like, you're doing the same thing, right? You're saying vibrations and energy and the force be with us. helped you get that car with that a license plate with your name on it specifically, but you are the one who have to get up, go to work, clock in, go to the car lot, pay the down payment, right? You're making the notes. There's nothing that you can actually tie to this force that helps you get this car. You're doing the same thing believers do. Like, why would you leave a belief in a God to go to this to do the exact same thing? I don't understand. It doesn't make sense to me.
The answer for me is it's not a personalized thing. It's more of a force, just like the earth is earth and the air is air. It's something that maybe I cannot see, but is a force that I generate with my own sovereign ability, that I am doing the work. Like you say, I'm doing all the work. I agree. It's me that's doing it. I'm not giving credit to nothing else. But what I'm giving credit to is me applying the energies that are already there and manipulating it to my benefit in the material world. I guess that's the best way.
What energies?
Yeah, you talked about vibration, frequency, and energy. How do we measure the vibration, frequency, and energy you're talking about?
Nikola Tesla has done that. If you look him up, I don't have that on hand to tell you how he's done that.
You're not for real, because you're now saying you're the source of the force, and you use vibration, frequencies, and energies. And we ask you how to measure it. You say Nikola Tesla did it. Nikola Tesla did not measure the force. You have not told it. How? No. What is the vibration frequency of the force? How do I tell it from other vibrations?
I called it. I use the force as an illustration, as an example to compare, but I don't call it the force, and it's not the force to me. What it is that which you can't see. It's frequency, vibration, and energy, which are real things that you are utilizing to manifest into three-dimensional reality what starts in the mind. Because
how do you prove that you're using vibrations to manifest something? I've got a Hitachi magic wand over there. Can I manifest something with that isn't an orgasm?
What's the question again?
How do you demonstrate that you're using vibrations and energies to manifest something?
I don't personally know how to demonstrate that just yet, but I can start researching it.
Hang on. So what you're saying is you believe something that you can't even demonstrate. Doesn't that sound irrational?
True. Yes, it does sound irrational.
Okay, then why are you calling me to tell me why are you calling me to tell me spirituality is real, and then admitting that your reason for thinking it's real is in fact irrational?
Well, because in my opinion, anytime you speak about spirituality, it's going to be considered irrational because it's very difficult to empirically test.
Yes. You know what that's also true of? Every other thing that is bullshit and not real.
True.
So if your position is on equal footing with something that is not real, what is your justification for saying it's real?
More research and testing.
Oh my God, Steve, you're so full of shit. There is no research and there is no testing. I gave you multiple opportunities to explain how you would test this, and you came up with an absolute garbage, flawed, ridiculous, irrational test that isn't a test. What more research and testing do you have that you haven't presented that you've wasted 12 minutes of my time getting to?
It's just going to be anecdotal. That's why you can only get so far in a discussion
Steve.
like this.
Yeah, Steve, that's true of everything that's bullshit. I need someone to demonstrate that it's not bullshit. You don't get to call in and tell me that your belief isn't bullshit and then present nothing but bullshit.
Well, I would like to ask you if you've tried it yourself. Have you tried any of these techniques to test it yourself?
I haven't done heroin either, but I can explain to you how it works, what it does, and why I don't want to do it. I have been involved in other people testing it, other people who claim that they can manifest this stuff, and they have all consistently failed to produce an effect. And even if there was some reason to think that they might have had a coincidental effect, there's been no demonstration of any sort of causality. And
Yeah, but I'm
you,
saying you're relying on other people's
by your
testing,
own
so I'm asking if
admissions,
you-
by your own admission, Steve, you have no evidence for this. It is irrational, anecdotal, and indistinguishable from bullshit. Go away.
Is no evidence equal to anecdotal evidence in your opinion?
Anecdotal evidence, you don't have anecdotal evidence. You have claims that are not supported by evidence.
No, I have anecdotal evidence. You just don't.
No, you don't.
Wouldn't want to hear it.
No, you
because
don't.
You don't consider it evidence.
No, you don't. Yes.
Okay.
Evidence
Well, we can disagree, I
are
guess.
facts. Evidence are fact. Yes, it's just you. This is why it's called delusion. Evidence are facts that are verifiable, that point more strongly to one proposed explanation for an event than another. You have nothing you can point to for why we should favor your self-generated vibrational energetic source over magical pixies or granting your wishes. You have nothing you can provide that would give a reason why you're right about there being a magical force that you're generating over magical pixies that granted your wish, do you?
Not to your standard, I don't think.
Yes, it's not. See, this is the dishonest bullshit that people like you say every time, Steve. It's not my standards. It's the standards of reason and rationality. You're just uncomfortable. Well, actually, you seem to be very comfortable acknowledging that you're okay with being irrational.
Where's the reasoning and rationality rules written that I could go by again now?
Oh, if you go do
You're
a
referring
study
to?
a course on logic, there's logical principles, the basics of which are generally viewed as things like identity, non-contradiction, and excluded middle. From there, we begin to go to propositional logic, where propositions are evaluated and argumentative structures are put together so that we can consider the validity of those structures, that if true premises are entered, they must lead to true conclusions, and then we evaluate the soundness of it. This is how reasoning works. By your own definition, your position is unreasonable, irrational, and no one should believe it, including you.
All right, I'll take down that guideline and I'll put together something that works within those parameters for you for the next call.
No, you won't, but
I don't
nice
understand.
dodge.
Yeah, I don't understand the need for magical thinking just to get a truck. Or like
So why do you have
the
to call it
manifestation,
magical?
like it is magical thinking because you're saying that you're going to manifest the things that you want to manifest is a house, money, cars, women, men. Like it's magical
general
thinking.
statement?
No, like
You don't get
what
to
are you
ask any more
manifesting?
questions, Steve. You are too divorced from reality for your questions to be anything other than embarrassing you. So I'm going to mute you so you don't embarrass yourself further. So Thinker can finish her thought.
Thanks, Matt. It is magical thinking. I'm trying to figure out what you would need this for. Because the example that you gave is if I write down the thing that I want, like these are your desires. This is like Santa Claus. It's like writing a letter, a child writing a letter to Santa Claus.
My baby wrote me a
why?
letter.
Yeah. Please help me understand why I would need this just to get the things I want in life. Like it is a shortcut. I think humans, gods are attractive to us because one, we can't deal with death, but also we need that shortcut, right? We need the shortcut to healing, the shortcut to desires that we want in life. And you've ditched the God, but you still want the shortcut. You want the magic, the supernatural. Why do you need this to get the desires?
Okay to respond?
Yeah, go ahead. Why should we want this?
So I don't personalize it as a God. Like you keep correlating it with a personalized God.
I did not say that. I didn't say that. I said you ditched the God. Hold on. I didn't say that. I said you ditched the God. You're an atheist. Huh?
No, I say that they're correlating it with one and that's not how I do. I'm looking at it as an impersonal part of reality that I have learned and that we're supposed to learn to
This isn't reality.
Just like
Wait,
This is supernatural thinking.
hang on. You just said we're supposed to learn to manipulate. How do you know we're supposed to learn to manipulate this?
because I believe our consciousness is supposed to elevate and become more enlightened as we live.
When I ask, I'm sorry, it's like you don't understand the basics of reality or simple communication. When you say we're supposed to do that, that suggests that there is some external imposed purpose for us to do this. And when I asked you why you think we're supposed to do this, you said, because I believe we're supposed to do this. What?
Right.
I'm looking for a reason to believe that we're supposed to do this, and I have no reason to think it's even fucking possible. But what's your justification for saying we're supposed to learn this?
Okay. My justification does come from, I guess, a little bit of my Christian uproots, unfortunately, just because I feel from my Christian roots, what has stuck with me is that I'm purposeful, right? And so I believe you're purposeful. We're all purposeful.
Steve, I'm sorry. I'm not going to let you waste any more of my time with stupid explanations, because when you say we're supposed to do something, yeah, I'm going to explain to you why it's stupid. Just hang on.
That's the answer.
I don't care. Your answer's stupid, and I'm going to explain why. So just be patient.
Okay. Okay.
I don't think you're necessarily stupid, but your answer is very, very stupid. When you say we're supposed to do this, supposed to is an imperative, meaning that there is someone or something or some rule that suggests this is something we ought to be doing. And in your case, you said that it comes from your Christian roots, but you're also no longer a Christian. So you just undermined everything about your statement that we're supposed to be doing it, because your reason for thinking we're supposed to do it is a reason you no longer think is true, and a reason that I no longer think is true. And I don't think your claim that we're supposed to be doing it is true. I don't think that there's any claim of what we're supposed to be doing that is true. I do not believe in any sort of externally imposed imperatives.
Okay. I should not have said we're supposed to.
Anything?
I should have said, I believe I'm supposed to.
Okay. I don't care what you think you're supposed to. People that need to be locked up in an asylum and treated with drugs think they're supposed to do all kinds of things. I'm running a show where you called in, sir, to say that spirituality is real. And now, after 20 minutes of discussions with you, you have not demonstrated what spirituality really is, other than some kind of assertion about a force. You haven't demonstrated that it's real. You've admitted that your position is irrational, that it's not justified in any way that we can discern between it's you generating a force, it's a force you think you're generating, but you're not, it's magical pixies. And then you went to, you think you're supposed to do it. I don't give the slightest fuck what you think you're supposed to do, Steve. I'm here to discuss whether or not something is real. And you called in to say spirituality is real, and you have failed to even give a hint of a hope that what you describe as spirituality is in fact real. I'm going to assume that you probably don't have anything better, but I will give you the last word before I go on to somebody else.
Well, I would just like to get your definition of spirituality.
I don't have a definition of spirituality, Steve, as I've said thousands of times on the show. Spirituality is a word that makes no sense to me. It is used in so many different ways by so many people that I think spirituality is nonsense. And I will be releasing a video next week on why I think spirituality is nonsense. You've come in to provide your own esoteric, garbage, woo, pseudoscience, useless definition of spirituality, which I will congratulate you for, Steve, is exactly as true and useful as every definition of spirituality I've ever heard in my life. So congrats. Goodbye.
Okay.
All right. Hey, Thinker, how you doing?
I'm doing good. I feel like we're a society of people who think we're supposed to be like the Flash or like every character in Marvel. We're all looking for like supernatural powers. We're supposed to be trying to figure out which spider webs come out of virus, which one of us can fly over there to the next window. Like, I don't know.
Well, we do have a couple theist callers, and one of them I'm really looking forward to, but this one I don't know that I understand. So, I'm gonna mute you for just a second, Adam. But just as a reminder, after we're done taking calls, we're gonna read all the super chats over $10. You can put your question down there, your thoughts on spirituality. What did I get wrong? What did the caller get wrong? And if you're enjoying Thinker's new show, The Evangelicals, if you're enjoying Thinker being here with me today, you can include all that in your super chats as well, and they help pay for the phone systems. They help pay for our time and all of the stuff that we're doing here on YouTube. You can also go to linemerch.com if you don't want to, give money through YouTube, or patreon.com/calltheline to support us there. That way, I get in trouble more often than you guys would think for doing 3-hour shows and maybe remembering to mention super chats and other stuff once. So if you want to have pity on me and my failing memory, you could donate super chats like right now. Anyway. So Adam, pronouns are he, him, is calling from Croatia. Adam's a theist who says, why don't you steal the indestructible paper from Metagorgia? Well, first of all, because I don't think it exists. And second, I'm not a thief. But hey, Adam, how you doing?
Hi, I'm fine. How are you?
I'm all right.
So, you know how the story goes. Mirjana, the seer from Medjugorje, she has this paper that it was said if the paper has the secrets for the mankind, 10 secrets that are going to happen. They are written on the paper. But if somebody steals the paper from her, the paper will go back to her. You can't steal it. So I was just like thinking now, why don't you, take the paper and prove that it won't come back to her. It's indestructible.
Because I'm not a thief. Because I'm not a thief, and I'm sorry, I was answering your question. Because I'm not a thief, and because I don't think it's real. Are you saying? So what would it prove if I stole it and it went back to her? Would that prove that it's magical and real?
What would it prove to you?
It would just prove that I stole something, and then somehow or another, they got it back. But I wouldn't know how they got it back.
Have you stolen?
If you hide it really well. She is in Croatia, you are in America. So you go to Croatia, steal the paper, and go back to America and hide it really well.
Okay, this is a really funny joke, Adam, but say goodbye.
I got you.
You didn't get me. I literally pegged you.
Yes, I did.
Sorry, I figuratively pegged you. If I literally pegged you, you'd have to pay me. I figuratively pegged you as a fraudulent caller right off the bat. It's ridiculous. And that's why I took you before we got to this person who I genuinely want to have a conversation with. This is Luke, him from North Carolina. Luke's a theist that says God is good. Hey, Luke, how are you?
Hey, I'm doing good. How are you?
I'm all right. How can Thinker and I know that, because we don't believe there's a God at all, but you say that God is good. How can we know that God is good?
Okay. So so basically,
I'm sorry. Are you on the phone with us? Are you working or something? Am I distracting you
No.
from telling me about God?
No. My car window was open, and I'm like by the road and whatnot. I'm at the laundromat by the road, and the car's going by. It's too loud, so I closed my window.
Cool. How can we know God is good?
So basically, I'm a Christian, Baptist Christian.
I used to be.
So the God that I believe in is the God of the Bible. And the Bible says that God, and Jesus, he references that God is the only person. God the Father is the person that's good. Jesus doesn't say that he's good. He says God the Father is good.
Yeah, I'm aware.
And I think it's Mark 10.
Mark 10:18 and Luke 18:19.
One more time.
Mark 10:18 and Luke 18:19. I'm very familiar with the Bible. I was a Southern Baptist and studied to be a minister. I know what the book says. I'm trying to figure out why we should believe what the book says.
So I think it makes sense because we know like good and evil exist. Like those are the two forces. Like, you know,
I don't know that either of those exist as forces.
As concepts, like you know, we know there's good and there's
Do
evil.
unicorns exist as a concept?
Right. Yes, they do.
Do they exist in reality as far as we know?
No.
Okay.
Right,
I only
okay.
care about what exists in reality. And so I understand that you could have a concept of a God that you think is good, but I don't think that that God is real. And also the Bible God, I would argue, is definitely not good. He actually advocates for all kinds of things that are grossly immoral.
Okay. Could you like give me an example of one of them?
Sure. Is slavery morally permissible or not?
No, it's not.
Okay. Why does the Bible expressly permit it in Exodus 21 and Leviticus 25, and then it specifically has different rules for Jewish slaves than non-Jewish slaves, and says that they are your property that you can pass on to your children, and you can beat them as long as they don't die within a couple of days?
Is it God that's saying that that's okay, or is
I'm sorry.
somebody...
Are you suggesting that there's something in the Bible that God doesn't agree with?
I think, okay, so the Bible, like people do things in the Bible. The God doesn't like the Bible says that God pours his goodness, or the Father pours his goodness on good and
It's hilarious to me right now. It's hilarious to me right now that you're trying to tell me what the Bible says in order to object to what the Bible says. Why should I prefer your verse about Jesus saying that only God is good, and ignore the verses about slavery, and ignore the verses about women not being equal, and ignore the verses about conquering, and ignore the verses about inherited sin, and ignore the verses where it says that the earth existed before the sun? Why would I have to throw out all the parts of the Bible except for the ones that you like?
Okay. Okay. So the whole earth existed before the sun. That's another thing that I heard you talk about, and I just wanted, like, you know, going on the basis that I believe in God, right? In the Bible's God, in the creation, right? I think God he's a creator. He's a creator, and if he wanted to create the earth to be younger, but create the sun to be older, like art.
What does
like
this
how
have to
artists
do? Hold on. What does this have to do with why we should believe in your God or worship your God? Or like, I don't even
I'm
care
not saying
if, like,
that's
if you
a
think the
worship.
God, hold
I'm
on
not.
for a second. Hold on. If you think that the God is good, like, still, what does this have to do with you telling us why we should worship your God or believe in your God? Like, you still didn't answer the question about the slavery. Like, I'm so fucking confused about that. Like, why should
Okay,
we, why, hold on, why should
the
we
slavery.
ignore, wait a minute, why should we ignore the fact that your God condoned slavery, whether it's indentured servitude or chattel slavery or sex trafficking, because he allowed them to sell their daughters into slavery. And the laws that had to deal with rape was about the violation of men's property and not the woman's body. He told the Israelites to kill their kids if they tried to worship another god. Even Jesus said stone those kids if they disobey. Why should we ignore all of that and see your God as good? And even if you still call all of that good, why should we worship your God or believe in your God?
Um, Okay, so I'm not trying to say that you should worship or believe in him. That's not what I was trying to. I was just trying to, like, make it logical sense why a God would exist, right? Because what I was trying to say when I was trying to say God is good, right? I was trying to say that all the good things in the world, right? I was trying to point to the fact that I think good is greater than evil, right? If it wasn't and I was trying to point to the attributes of what good is. Good, like good,
Why?
the concept of good is fair, right? So that could make sense why evil exists. That evil exists to test good, which God is good, right? God the Father is good. So evil exists to test good. But if it was the other way around, like evil existed and evil was the supreme thing controlling the world, evil is not fair. Evil people are not fair. They're controlling. They wouldn't allow good to exist at all.
But you just
And if they
explained the majority of religious people when you say when you're saying that. But are you trying to say that good can't exist without evil and evil can't exist without good?
No, I'm just saying that I think good, not I think I believe good is greater than evil, and if good is greater than evil, it has to be the supreme, it has to be the thing that controls everything. It can't
Okay.
be. It has, and if it's greater, if it's the thing that controls everything, then it would be God. I was trying to point to. I think it would make sense to call it God, like good, whatever is good, right? And it's the greatest
That
thing,
doesn't
right?
make any sense at all.
Yeah.
Sense.
Like, okay,
Um.
here's a weird question that might help. So you think God exists and God is good, right?
Yes, I think the father. I
Hang
think the
on,
father.
hang on. I'm building to something. There's a couple of quick questions that'll make this clear. Do you think there's also a devil that is evil?
Yes, I do.
Cool. How did you determine that God is the good one and the devil is the evil one instead of the other way around?
Um. Based off of what evil does, I know is evil. Evil is manipulative. It's wicked. It's foul. It's I know, like, those things. Those things are what I like. But I guess more morality is how I know
Okay.
what
So
good is.
so hang on.
Between.
So hang on. When do you think the serpent in the garden was the devil?
Yes, he was. Yes.
I don't need you to that was just a simple question because here's the thing. You said that
Yes.
evil is manipulative. I would argue that the character of God in the Bible is the manipulative one.
Okay.
God of the Bible is the one that manipulates people and punishes people. The God of the Bible is vile. He is in favor or not opposed to slavery. He is in favor of the subjugation of women. He is in favor of punishing rape victims. He is in favor of eternal torment for finite crimes. The devil, if you think the serpent in the garden, which I don't think any of that happened, but if you think that that was the devil, the serpent told the truth in the garden, didn't he?
What did he? Because he asked Eve, he asked her, did God really tell you that you may not eat? He tried to deceive. I think. I'm not. I have to reread it, but he actually
I
tried to
can read it
deceive
to you.
Eve. Okay. But God told her that they may eat of every fruit of the trees in the
I
garden.
know. Yep.
Of good.
Well, what did God said that if they eat of the tree of the knowledge, the fruit of the tree of the knowledge of good and evil, that in that day they would surely die, right? That's what God said.
Yeah.
And the serpent, I'm sorry, your phone's breaking up, so I'm going to talk for both of us. And the serpent said, you're not going to die if you eat that. Did they die when they ate it?
Okay. This is what I wanted to explain. God.
I'm sorry,
Yeah.
your phone's breaking up to the point we can't understand a word you said. I'll just go ahead and answer for you. No, they didn't die. They did not die. The serpent told the truth and their eyes were opened. And right after that, what does God say?
He punishes them. He punishes them.
I'm sorry.
Man, I
I
wish he could pray
apologize.
and get
Something has
better
happened to your
service.
phone where we cannot hear a thing that you're saying. So I'm just going to go and do this. Hopefully you can hear me. So this is Genesis chapter 3. The serpent comes up and says, hey, are you allowed to eat of every tree of the garden? And the woman says, we can eat of the fruit of the trees of the garden, but the fruit which in the midst of the garden, God said you can't eat of it, neither shall you touch it, or you will die. And the serpent said to the woman, you will not die. For God knows that in the day you eat it, then your eyes shall be opened, and you shall be as gods, knowing good and evil. Later on, what God says is, behold, man has become like us. Not only did the serpent tell the truth in that story, which didn't happen and is absurd to think did happen, but not only did the serpent tell the truth, but God lied. And also, if you have two people who don't know the difference between good and evil, and you decide to punish them for disobeying you when they couldn't have possibly understood that it was wrong to disobey you, you are an immoral monster. It is the God of the Bible that is manipulative and vile and sanctions immoral things. The devil doesn't. What does the devil do that's immoral? Who kills more people in the Bible? Yep. Your phone's just
Yeah,
toast.
phone's
I
gone.
apologize. Maybe call us back on a different line and we'll try again, Luke. But I appreciate the attempt.
Dang, I wanted to prove to him that he actually prefers the fact that Eve ate from that tree because he prefers the knowledge that she got over the fact that God wanted him ignorant and obedient.
Yep. The God of the Bible, I did a talk where I pretended to be the God of the Bible to show that it's a comedy of errors and failures. But I mean, from the very beginning, it gets the order of events in creation wrong. So you can't believe Genesis 1. Then Genesis 2 is a story that kind of retells some of Genesis 1 with a few more specifics that not only continues to get the details wrong, but contradicts chapter 1 on a couple of things. Then when you get to chapter 3, this is where sin and death enter the world through a story that is not only ridiculous in the sense that snakes don't talk. I know I have hundreds of snakes in my house right now. None of them talk. It's the most common joke we get. When people come see us at reptile expos, they're like, hey, do any of these talk? No. But also, that serpent told the truth and was cursed to walk without legs,
Yeah.
to crawl on its belly, and to be a terrifying thing to women. Well, here's the thing. I think this story was created and the serpent was injected because anybody who's ever handled a snake, and definitely anybody who's ever seen a snake skeleton, knows that they used to have legs. They have vestigial legs and spurs by the cloaca, because snakes are reptiles, just like birds, which I'm going to bet most of you didn't know. And back at the back part of them, where the cloaca is, where all the pee and poop go out, where all the sex organs, it's all there in one messy little slot. Most snakes, depending on the species and depending on the sex, will have a couple of little remnant spurs there that they can articulate. They use it when breeding and other stuff. But if you actually look at the skeleton, you'll see the remains of what used to be its ancestors' legs. They're no longer needed. And you need a story to explain that when you don't have any understanding of science and evolution. And so you just throw that right into the Genesis story. But I still want to know, you called in, Luke, to say that God is good. We still don't believe there is a God. But if you're talking about the one in the Bible, that guy is not good.
No, he wouldn't address any of the things that we said that the God did.
Yeah. You might as well be calling to tell me Voldemort was good. But don't do that either, because Voldemort's author is a transphobic piece of shit. All right. Let's see if we can get some more spirituality stuff here. V is calling from UK, pronouns are he, him. V's agnostic and says spirituality is quite broad and can apply to almost everyone. Hey, V, how are you?
I'm doing good. How about you guys?
I'm good, V. How are you?
Mixed bag.
A little bit late, but not much.
Are you saying?
I've been asleep.
I'm trying to understand your thing. You said spirituality is quite broad and can apply to almost everyone. Are you just in agreement with us that spirituality is nonsense, or do you think there's something real there?
Yeah, so I mean, from the previous caller, I've realized maybe my definition is a little bit too wide. Like I believe spirituality kind of consists of two main components. One of them is kind of finding and shaping your soul, and then the second component is connecting a bit more to the universe and finding that connection between the universe and your soul.
Okay,
you said you don't really have. I'm
gonna take a step back for a second, because I definitely want to get Thinker in here to talk about this. But I'll just say, I have no reason to think I have a soul. I have no reason to think anybody has a soul. And the entire concept of soul is one of the single most obviously false propositions of religion. But also, I don't know what it means to connect to the universe in any meaningful sense, and I'm not convinced it's possible. So, but Thinker might feel differently, because we don't know each other that well. And so I'm gonna let you guys sort out what spirituality is, and I'm gonna take notes for my video.
Okay.
Yeah.
V, can you say that again? Like it connects your soul to the universe?
Yeah. So the second part is the one that I'm still not fully sure about, because I mean, I'm quite young. I'm 19, so I'm just trying to figure life out as I'm going along. But yeah, so finding the deeper connection to the world around you. If you want, I can start with the first part of actually finding your soul and shaping it.
What is it? What is the soul?
Yeah, so Matt mentioned he doesn't believe in soul. So I guess kind of my question is, and I'm guessing I'm right in assuming that you guys are pro-choice, right? So what for you separates a baby from a grown adult, or an animal from a grown adult? Sorry, not embryo.
What separates a baby from an animal?
Sorry, say that again?
What did you say? What separates a baby from an animal?
No. What separates an embryo, in the womb, from a grown
embryo
adult? What separates an animal from a grown adult?
What do you mean? What separates it?
So for me, what kind of separates an animal from a human, or an embryo from a live person, is your experiences. It's your ability to kind of take in the world around you and understand it on a slightly deeper level. And for me, that is kind of the soul.
Wait, hold on. You're saying the soul is your ability to have consciousness?
I wouldn't necessarily say consciousness, but I guess it is kind of similar to consciousness in that way.
You're saying experiences, right? Your ability to experience?
Yeah, sort of. So, sorry, English isn't my first language, so I might take a moment.
I mean, you're doing pretty well. I'm understanding you.
Yeah. Essentially, when an animal, let's say a monkey, we see a lot of physical similarities between apes and humans, tool usage, social aspects. But one thing that is, for me, different between a human and an animal is long-term thinking and your ability to, I guess, kind of understand the world around you on a deep personal level.
Awareness.
So
Like, yeah,
Yeah,
you all.
awareness.
So
Awareness is a good
awareness
definition
is
of
your
that.
soul.
It's a combination of things. Awareness being one of them.
It sounds like to me that you don't quite know how to identify it or define it.
Yeah,
You're
like I said,
saying,
it is a little bit of a general thing, but essentially, if you think about your like you yourself, you have a physical body, you have a mind, and you have the soul, kind of who you are. And
what is the difference between your mind and your soul? What does your mind do that your soul? What does your soul do that your mind doesn't do?
yeah, there you go. So
Or
one
your
of those
brain?
things maybe.
Hold on for a second. I assume when you say mind, you mean brain. Like it's crazy that I have to ask that question, but I assume when you say mind, you are referring to your brain.
Like your active thinking. It's somewhat similar to like the analogy of your conscious and unconscious. So like everybody gets unconscious thoughts, and
Wait, hold
like
on.
um,
Hold on, because I need you to be
yeah,
very concise. So your brain is separate from your mind?
not your brain from your mind. So you have your physical state, your body. You have your mind, which is
Is
kind
that
of
your brain?
active,
Is your
and you have
mind
your
your brain?
soul.
I
Yeah,
need to
I guess.
understand. One second, one second. When you say mind, are you talking about the brain?
Mm, sort of, yeah. Like if you mean brain physically, then no. If you mean brain as in the part of us that thinks and
That
makes decisions, then yes.
I'm so fucking confused. The brain that is in your physical head that is made of matter, what does that do? If it does not think, what is the brain that is in your physical body? What is that responsible for? If not thinking.
Let me try to explain the kind of the three parts a little bit more. Maybe
No.
it'll make sense.
I need to understand. I need to understand how you're defining the brain, right quick, before you get to all of the three parts. It You said the body, right? Your body has a physical organ called a brain. Is that
Yes.
organ responsible for your thoughts?
In part, yes. Like if we cut off our brain, like if we chop someone's head off, then yeah, they won't be able to think. Like I'm not that deep into thinking that you have a consciousness outside of your body, but I think it's to do with the three parts. They are connected with each other, but they're not. They're partly independent, but not fully independent. So you can't have like your mind without your physical body, but if that can, like if you cut someone's head off, then yeah, they won't be able to process information, they won't be able to think. And it's the same thing with your soul and your physical body.
So without a brain, you don't have a mind.
No, I don't think so.
Okay, so why are you saying mind body if the mind is the brain? Because you don't have a mind without a brain. Like your thoughts are coming from your brain. Like your brain is processing information, right? Transmitting neurons and sending information to your body, right? And you're thinking these thoughts. You're feeling
on a
emotions, right?
biological level, yes.
It
I mean,
doesn't make
the
sense. It
mind.
doesn't make sense to me. It doesn't make sense to me for you to say uh body, mind, and soul, and then say that your your mind does something completely different, and then you're going to say that the soul does everything the mind and your brain does. Because it sounds like when you say soul, all y'all are talking about is your brain. Like
Yeah.
you're talking about your thoughts, your awareness, your consciousness, like your emotions, your experiences, your memories, your personality.
Does your view of a soul, is that something that survives my death?
I mean, there is no way that there's no way to prove that it does.
Okay. I don't know how you know that. Here's the thing. I talked about this earlier, V. You're saying there's no way to prove that. How do you know there's no way to prove that?
I mean, the one way to prove that would be to carry over your thoughts to like the next time that.
So first you say there's no way to prove that, and now you say there's one way to prove that, but it hasn't. Wow. So you're saying you have no idea if the soul survives death, right?
I mean, I'll be honest. No, I don't. Hypothetically, you could prove that, but it's not realistic.
Do you believe that it survives death?
It would be really nice to believe in that, and I am.
That's not what I asked
about, like, reincarnation.
Okay,
but
so we're back to Thinker's question, which is name any property of the soul that is not an identifiable function of a mind. And when I say mind, I'm saying the mind is what the brain does.
Right. I think like intrusive thoughts would be something that you can attribute.
How did you determine that intrusive thoughts are not coming from the brain?
So it's kind of similar to oh god, what was the English name for it? Ego, id, and it's a psychology.
All of those things describe things that a brain does.
Right. So the analogy is kind of your soul is.
I don't need an analogy. I don't need an analogy. Analogies are often useless because they're always going to be flawed. All I want is for you to list some feature of the soul that is not what the brain does.
I really want to say, like, it's not like how your heart fights against your mind sometimes, but like my heart
pumps blood. I know it for a fact. I have a picture of it on my refrigerator when they did a triple bypass on my heart. The heart you're talking about is not my heart. It is the emotional part of the brain. So literally the thing you're pointing to as the heart is still your brain. I'm out looking for a feature of the soul that you can point to that is not a function of the brain.
And I think in such, I'm like, my definition is probably flawed. It might be a little bit too general to where you can just link it directly back to science. Like I said, I may not be able to bring a lot to the table here.
Well, then take some time and go off and think about it. Come up with something better that you're willing to actually defend, and call us back.
Understandable. I mean, I don't want to take too much of your time. Like I said, it is a little bit of a general.
Wish granted. All right. Luke is called back.
Yay. I hope I get to ask him
Hey,
my
Luke,
question.
thanks for calling back. Hopefully we can hear you now.
Yeah. Can you?
Yes, we can.
Okay. All right. Where do we leave? I think we were talking about the garden. I don't think that. I think Satan is clearly the one that is the deceiver. For like when you read out what he said to Eve, the Bible, God told Eve, right, that she can eat of any told Eve and Adam that they can eat of any tree in the garden except the one that gives them the knowledge of good and evil. And then Satan comes along, and when he's questioning her about what God said, listen.
So we know the story. Like we don't. Like we know the story. It sounds like you're kind of just like
where did he deceive?
reciting it.
No, I just want
Where did he
Hear me
deceive?
out. So he says, "You shall not eat of." Hold up. So when the woman.
Where did he deceive?
Okay. So right here. So he said to the woman, "Did God actually say, you shall not eat of any tree in the garden?" Right there, of any tree. He didn't say of the tree of good and evil. He said of any tree. Now, why would he phrase it like that?
How is that deceiving? Are you seriously going to parse the English fucking translation of something that never happened and say it's deceptive? What's wrong with that question? Hey, if the snake comes up and says, "Did God tell you that you must not eat from any tree in the garden?" And the woman says, "No, we can eat from the trees of the garden." Why are you interrupting?
Go ahead.
And the woman says, "We can eat from the trees of the garden except for this one." Where is the deception in that?
It's I don't. So God gave them permission, literally, of everything. He gave them dominion over the whole earth of everything, except the knowledge of good, except of that one tree.
Yes. I don't need you to keep telling me the story. I need you to explain why you think the serpent was deceptive. So if they haven't eaten from the fruit of the tree of the knowledge of good and evil, then they don't know right from wrong, correct?
Right.
If they don't know right from wrong, how can it be wrong for them to disobey God?
Because he set boundaries. I mean,
no. We know he set a boundary. If they don't understand right from wrong, how can they know it's wrong to disobey him? Have you got kids?
No, I don't.
Okay. If you had a kid and you had a 9-month-old, and that 9-month-old doesn't know right from wrong, and you tell it not to pee in its diaper and it pees in its diaper anyway, are you going to punish it?
No.
Would you be a moral monster if you punish someone who cannot understand right and wrong for doing something you think is wrong?
I would.
Would you be a moral monster if you punish someone who cannot know the difference between right and wrong for doing something you think is wrong? Yes or no?
No.
So you're not. So it's okay. It is okay to punish someone who doesn't know the difference between right and wrong for doing something you think is wrong.
All right, hear me out.
No, that was a question. I don't need to fucking hear you out. You're advocating for punishing people who don't know the difference between right and wrong. You are claiming that the serpent was deceptive when you have no argument for it, and there's no point in this story where the serpent deceived at all. You're the deceived one, sir. You're deceiving yourself.
All right, that's all right. Maybe that's not a good. I can't pick that argument up so well.
I can't understand him. His phone is messing
phone's
up.
breaking up again. Are you on a tin can or like an actual cell phone?
I'm on my cell phone. I don't know. I don't know. Like,
we can't understand you. All right. I'm sorry. I shouldn't have said a word. I didn't know the phone was going to cut back out. I wanted to get Thinker back into this stuff you wanted to ask about.
It's okay. I did want to ask, like the God kills them. He cuts off the tree of life. That's akin to a parent saying, "Don't jump on the bed. You have asthma. The day you jump on the bed, you'll die." The kid jumps on the bed, has an asthma attack, and the parent hides the damn inhaler.
Yeah.
Yeah.
But also, they didn't die. So what did Christians do? Oh, and Jews.
Spiritual death.
Oh, it's a spiritual death. See, they brought sin and death into the world, and the punishment wasn't that you'll die that day, even though that's the punishment God said it was.
Mm-hmm. Yeah.
The serpent didn't lie. And by the way, this is all just a fairy tale, sir.
Yeah. But
There's
he's
no
willing
reason
to
to think this
demoralize
happened.
himself for it. Yeah.
We know from science, there's not a single Adam and Eve from which we all descended. We know that's not true.
Mm-hmm. Yeah.
We also know that the earth didn't exist before the sun, but the Bible gets that one wrong too. I'm going to have almost no thoughts on this, but Michaela's calling from Georgia. Michaela's pronouns are they, them. And I will do my best if I jump in at all, Michaela, to try not to get that wrong. But you want to present an argument against the Black Hebrew Israelites. And I've had
Against them?
interactions with these guys, but you go for it. My White House is going to stay out of it because I've only interacted with them a couple times downtown, and it never goes well for them.
You're presenting. Hi,
Awesome.
Michaela. How are you?
Hey, I'm doing great. How are you?
I'm doing good. So you say you want to present an argument against them, like, or
Yes, ma'am. So, actually, before I get into the argument, Matt, the Israelites you talk to, what colors do they wear?
I don't know that these guys had particular colors they were wearing.
Oh, okay. Yeah, because
I
I was
guess
just kidding. If it
before
was
you
like
get,
purple and gold, it would probably be IUSC. But yeah, so
I'm confused when
my
you say an
argument.
argument
Oh, sorry.
against them, because we're going to agree. Like, if you're arguing against the Black Hebrew Israelites identifying as the Israelites in the book, we're going to agree.
Yes, ma'am. So I guess what I kind of want to do here is that I guess my argument is kind of like, because I have a few arguments against them, and I guess the reason I want to present them is that typically when I give them my strongest argument, sometimes it's difficult for me to kind of hold their feet to the fire because I'm an aspiring content creator, and the goal is to show Black Christians that, hey, the reason, because I know a lot of Black Christians who debate against them, and the goal is like, hey, the reason they talk about enslaving, white people and other groups of people is because the Bible says they can do it. But the first argument I kind of have, because I guess the whole thing I'm trying to do here.
Like, are you trying to test your argument out on me? Like for me to play devil's advocate?
No, ma'am. I guess I want to show you the argument, and maybe because I don't know if you saw this argument before, but I guess I just want like constructive feedback on the argument. It's kind of more so what I'm doing.
I don't know, Matt. Is that okay? Like, I think they're just looking for like advice on content creation.
I think what's happening is they're wanting to go out and engage, but they don't want to walk out unprepared and have the Black Hebrew Israelites just mock them for a ridiculous argument or anything else. So I guess it seems to me like Michaela, like they want us to be a sort of sanity check before they head out into the street. Is that right?
I just wanted to make sure that was okay with you.
I'm fine with it if that's what they're looking for.
Okay.
Oh, cool. Yeah. So the argument, like, this is like I think I have about like 2 or 3 arguments for them. The strongest argument
let's do them one at a time. Let's do them one at a time and start with the best.
Yes. So my strongest argument against them is that they have 2 claims that are contradictory, and because these 2 claims are contradictory, I reject the premise. So the first claim is that they claim that Latinos are Israelites. Their second claim is that your father's ethnicity determines your ethnicity. The problem with this argument is that the vast majority of Latinos have European heritage or ancestry on their father's side. So they also claim that white people are Edomites. So by their own criteria, they must conclude that Latinos are Edomites and not Israelites because the vast majority of them are white. And every time I hit them with this argument, they just they run away from it. It's kind of they start talking about other different things. Because I ran into them when I was at work. I ran into them and I hit them with this argument. They started walking off. Like, oh, you need to come to the camp. And I went to IUIC's calling show, and he started saying, "Hey, I'll answer this question when you're able to explain to me why is it that black people were fighting over chicken at KFC? Once you give me the answer for that, I'll kind of. So I guess I'm just having issues because I think the argument is pretty good, but I guess I just have issues holding their feet to the fire. Yeah.
First, like I just deal with like facts. Like in their book, in their Bible, it says that the Israelites are Aramaean. They're from Syria, Mesopotamian. Latinos nor West Africans fit that criteria anyway. Deuteronomy 26:5 is where you're going to see the wandering, the pledge that they have to recite. The Israelites have to recite this pledge before they can get any allocation of the promised land for them to get their ancestral rights. And they have to assert that Jacob, who is a wandering Aramean, is their ancestor who went and lived down in Egypt. So by definition of what a Israelite is in the Bible, Latinos wouldn't be from Mesopotamia, Aramean or Syrian, and neither are West Africans. They don't fit the criteria. Most of them are trying to claim to be the tribe of Judah, or one of the lost 10 tribes. Judah's tribe is compacted into like 45 years. He's a great grandfather within a 45-year span. Like that, the lineage isn't accurate. So there's no way they're tracing their lineage back to that. And then what was the second thing? The second thing that you said? Edom.
About
Edomites.
About their father's ethnicity.
Edomites. Europeans
Edomites,
are not Edomite. Edom is Jordan. It's in West Asia. The Edomite, the Edomites would be people who live in Jordan today. Like they need to look at a map. Tell them, instead of telling you to come to a camp, tell them to go look at a map. Tell them to actually read the Bible, instead of just looking at Deuteronomy 28. Most of them bank their identity off of the words slave and ship and curses in Deuteronomy 28, and they go, yep, we're the people of this book. Deuteronomy 28 is a if this then that speech that Moses is giving. It says, if you obey my commands, you'll be blessed. If you don't, you'll be cursed. There's demographics of people on the earth that meet the criteria of the blessing. So then by default, and using their same methodology, they would have to say those people are Israelites too. That's the way that I would debunk those two arguments.
I was going to stay quiet, but I do have some thoughts. I think, yeah, I just want to double check. So I think, so first of all, not all Black Hebrew Israelites make that claim about Latinos. But when you mention that they go through patriarchal lineage, that your father's ethnicity determines your ethnicity, first of all, we already know nothing. So there's nothing about ethnicity that is in any way, oh, this comes from your father, or oh, this comes from your mother. But instead of ethnicity, if we went with lineage, I believe that they are claiming patriarchal lineage instead of matriarchal lineage, because Jews, you're Jewish if your mom was Jewish. And that's the smart thing to do, because throughout history, if you really wanted to, you could absolutely guarantee that you were identifying the mother of every person. Like, as the second you give birth, we could tattoo you with your mom's identity, and you know, for as long as we have access to that tattoo or whatever, we can be, we know which person you exited. Until 1985, roughly, we had no way of proving who your father was. So if they want to start tracing patriarchal lineage, they can't go back any further than anyone who was dead prior to 1985. And it seems that they're doing it so that they can redefine who the Israelites are. Because if you use the matriarchal, hey, we've got, at least some hope of lineage, but actually, since we're not tattooing babies the second they exit a womb, you can swap babies. It's happened times. We've proved it with DNA testing. So everything about their story about the lineage is as dubious as who my great great grandfather's father was.
Totally. Yeah, that's actually very helpful. Because that's a new perspective I can like apply to them. And so, very briefly, I'm going to try to run through like the second and third argument. So the second argument I decided to kind of use because I watch a lot of Jovan Bradley, and he uses this the necessary condition argument. I'm sorry.
He's a badass.
Oh yeah, totally. He's very much a badass. But yeah, so in a lot of his debates with like transphobes, he uses necessary conditions, and Hebrew Israelites are also like super transphobe. But I'll get to that in a second. That's more for the third argument. So the second argument, I wrote it down. I asked them, what is the necessary condition to be an Israelite? And of course, they say it's your father's lineage, but that's like another contradiction because they also say, so what I have here is that if the necessary condition to be an Israelite is to have a father who is an Israelite, then that means it is not necessary to fit the curses. If it is not necessary to fit the curses, then that means IUIC has no actual method to identify the Israelites of today. And based on my recent notes, I put necessary condition as far as Israelite and sufficient condition is fitting the curses. You can be an Israelite without fitting the curses. So the curses are not required evidence. And I'll land the plane with this. They believe Bob Marley is a white man, because his father is a white man, even though Bob Marley would, by their understanding, by their criteria, Bob Marley would fit the curses. But they don't consider Bob Marley to be an Israelite because his father's white. But then you have Cameron Diaz. She's a white woman, blonde hair, blue eyes. They would consider her an Israelite, even though she doesn't fit the curses. But her father is Cuban, which is Latino. So in their eyes, this white woman is Israelite, but this black man isn't. And that's kind of like the second part. Does that make sense?
Yeah, but I'm going to be very disappointing here.
Sure.
So, in much the way, Thinker and I were talking before the show started, and I'm more into philosophy than she is by a lot. But also, why would anybody give a fuck about curses until we demonstrate that curses are real? Why would anybody give a fuck about what the Black Hebrew Israelites think if they can't demonstrate, if they're just making claims? I could stand out on a street corner with a sandwich board and say that white people are better than black people. I have it on authority from the aliens that have been speaking to me in my brain, and they're now going to curse all of you who don't believe unless you send me $25.17 in a super chat right now. And if somebody doesn't do that, I'm going to be really disappointed. There's no reason for anybody to care what it seems like, and I don't mean to be insulting to you, Michaela, but it seems like you're trying to counter their claims as if there was some demonstration that they were deserving of any consideration at all. Like you're arguing about whether or not somebody is subject to a curse. That's like arguing what kind of toenail polish Big Feet wear.
I think what they're saying is the Hebrew Israelites identify as Israelites based on the curses. So that they're saying the black community is at the bottom of social economic status. Our we have the highest single mama baby mama rates. Like they're saying stuff like that, right? Like we're not blessed in the city, blessed in the field. So they're identifying the curses in the Bible and going, yep, we meet that. Yep, we were our ancestors went back to Egypt by ship, like that. And there's someone that that's either consistently trying to push this on you? Is that
I'm sorry.
is that right?
Oh.
They're constantly
yes,
trying to
ma'am.
get you to come to the camp, and you're trying to debunk it because they're trying to indoctrinate you by saying, "Look at the curses. We're the only ones who fit the curses in the Bible."
Yes, ma'am. You know, my mother, I love my mother to death. She somehow fell into this camp, and you know, every now and then she tries to send me these messages about it. We're not, we still get along. We get along fairly well. It's just that I guess a piece of me is kind of, I have concerns because I feel like this rhetoric is spreading because
Oh, I get it. They're dangerous.
3 times.
I get it. I get it. Their rhetoric is dangerous. It's incorrect. It's illogical. It's half-assed, and they're identifying to be the people in this book based off of Deuteronomy 28. So I mean, I get the need to debunk it, especially if there's a family member that's trying to indoctrinate you into it.
Yes, ma'am. Yeah. I think both of you made good points. Like, why care about first demonstrate a curse if you think curses are real, and also like your point, which is also like, you know, there's a lot of people that's trying to push it towards you, and you want to, because I guess, you know, before I get to my last argument, I care a lot. You know, I care a lot about bringing Black people into secular humanism because what we have over here is so much better than the Abrahamic faiths, right?
Yeah.
And I guess my last, you know, IUIC to have a call-in show. This would be my last point. This is like my third argument that I kind of like, just to kind of like spitball, throw it out there. I called into IUIC's show one day, and I think, to the best of my knowledge, I think there was another trans woman on there talking to him, and you know, basically one of the Israelite soldiers, or whatever, was saying, "Hey, you're a man pretending to be a woman." Like the fucking irony, you're a Black man pretending to be an Israelite, and I use this. I essentially through this argument.
I'm going to interrupt right here.
Sure.
Delete that entire argument from your repertoire and thoughts.
Sure.
That's my only comment on it.
Right.
You're not doing anything to protect or support trans folks by suggesting that they're being similarly ridiculous. It's an entirely bad line. Just focus on demonstrate whatever's true.
I get that.
Yeah, that's a good point.
Yeah.
All right. I got another call.
Yeah.
I got another call.
Sure.
A call, Michaela. Thanks so much for calling in. Good luck.
Good luck, Michaela.
Thank you. Thanks for having me. Good.
Yeah, if somebody is using, and I get that, I'm not a part of any of the minority groups we're discussing right now, but I don't know that joining and shitting on one group in order to try to prop up another is ever a good thing. All of it seems to be a massive distraction that just winds up disparaging everybody. So I just rather stick with let's figure out what's true. If the Black Hebrew Israelites have a true position, they should be able to demonstrate it just like anybody else. Hey, Luke's back. Starting to wonder if it's like Luke Cage and he's running off to rescue people and stuff. But all right. Welcome back, Luke.
Hello.
I'm going to mute because Thinker had questions for you, and hopefully your phone will last, but I don't want to occupy any of that time. So you guys are here. Have fun.
Gotcha.
Hey, Luke. Really, I'm gonna try to like be very quick. We're talking about whether or not your God is the immoral one in the garden, and whether that is Satan. And your belief that he deceived them by he deceived Eve by giving her the information that she would not die and that she would become like God, knowing good and evil. Matt read Genesis 3:22, where the God says, "Man has now become like one of us, knowing good and evil." Right? That's where we left off. Right? Okay. And so my theory is that your God is the immoral one in the garden, because why does your God not want the humans to gain this knowledge of moral consciousness, knowing moral goodness or moral evilness, like being able to decide morality? Why would your God want a population of people who only saw what he saw as good or evil? Like, would you rather live with the ability that you have today to be able to critically think about your behaviors, about the behaviors of others, and uh, decide whether your behaviors are morally good or morally evil or harmful to other people?
Yes, I would. Um, I would, and I think that's why we were created. Like at first, we were created with free will. Um,
Well, I don't
I
want to
think
talk about the doing. Free will has to do with doing, right? It's not the tree. It's not the knowledge. I mean, it's not the tree of doing good and evil. It's the tree of knowing it, right? Being able to think about it. For example, Adam could have been very abusive to Eve in the garden before they ate from that tree. And Adam would have known if him hitting or slapping Eve was a morally good or morally evil thing to do. But he could definitely do it, right? I'm not talking about the free will. We're talking about your ability to um, reason, right? To uh, be rational within thought and say, maybe I shouldn't hit Eve because that, you know, is immoral. This is the wisdom that the God commands them not to gain. Why would your God not want a society of humans who have that ability?
all right. So I'm using logic. Everything that I like, me studying the Bible, I use logic. So when the Father says that He is good, right? He is literally everything. He is holy and He is good, right? He can't be evil. But He tells man, who is made as if he is good, but not actually good. He tells man, do not know the knowledge of evil, because when you do, you will die. What I see, what I pieced it, how I figured out, thought about it, was that man is made as if he's good, but he's not actually good. So when he gains the knowledge of evil, he doesn't remain good. He doesn't
No, no,
remain
no,
like,
no. Hold on. You are adding the ability to do to know. You can do evil without knowing that you're doing something evil. Right? You can do bad and not know that what you did is bad. Your body's going to move. Right? We're not talking about the ability to do. This is the knowledge that they gained was wisdom, right? Not action. Why would your God not want humans to have the wisdom to think about their actions and say, I shouldn't do that. That's going to be harmful.
Okay, so before the fall, before taking the apple, right? They weren't doing anything evil. It wasn't until
You don't know
evil.
that. You don't know that. You have no idea.
Well,
The very
that's why
fact of them, hold on, the very fact of them disobeying, is disobedience evil?
if you're told not to do, it, it is. If your parents tell you not to do something evil,
No, no, no.
and you're
Was the act of them disobeying your God's command evil?
yes.
Okay, so that means that they could do evil things before they ate from the tree. They had to make the decision to disobey when they put the fruit in their mouth, right? The act of putting the food in their mouth is the act of disobedience. So they could do evil before they knew it was evil. We're not talking about
Right.
doing. We're talking about knowing. We're talking about understanding, right? A moral consciousness. They did not have that. Your God was to be their morality. So what I'm asking is, why would your God want a population of humans who cannot decide morality? Like, who can't understand whether their actions are moral or not?
Why would he tell them not to gain that wisdom? I feel like he like this the complex part, because when he knew that they were going to do it.
What's
Like,
the complex part? No,
yeah,
y'all. Yeah, it does. That has nothing to do with it. Your mind today, right? You are able to assess whether or not your behaviors are moral or immoral before you do them, after you do them. Correct?
yes.
Okay. Do you appreciate that ability? That capability?
Yes,
You appreciate that? Do you appreciate that there are other humans in the world who have that same capability and who are willing to do that before they act?
Before the act, right? Yes, I do.
Okay. And would you say that because humans have this ability to assess their actions before they and reason with themselves and say, maybe I shouldn't do that because that's immoral, or maybe I should do that because that is moral, that's the reason why a lot of people don't get hurt as often, or people get help from other humans?
Right.
Yeah.
Right.
Okay. Why would your God not want you to have that? Because according to the story, that is the wisdom, the capability that Eve gained when she ate from that tree. Why would a good God not want you to have that ability, or other humans to have that ability?
Because not everybody in their offspring, in Adam and Eve's offspring, are gonna choose to think like how what you just explained, right? Having knowledge of good and evil and not being evil. Not everybody in their offspring is gonna choose
You
that.
can be evil. You can be evil without. It's worse. Wouldn't you say that it's worse to be evil? To do evil without a moral conscience. Do you think Dahmer had a moral conscience? Do you think what he did was evil?
Jeffrey Dahmer?
Yeah.
Is that what you said?
Yeah.
Yes. Yeah, I
Okay.
don't know too much
Would
about
you
that.
would you rather have a world of people like Dahmer without the ability to assess whether or not their actions are evil, or a world where people say, maybe I shouldn't eat other motherfuckers? I'm sorry, maybe I shouldn't eat other people.
You're saying like doing it and then like not knowing that it's evil, but doing the evil versus knowing that it's evil and doing it.
Yes, because not knowing doesn't mean you can't do. A person can do evil and not have any type of moral conscience about it, right? Not think to themselves, is this a moral thing for me to do, or is this immoral for me to do? They can be very amoral, right? And so why would your God want, let me put it this way, why would your God want a society of amoral humans who just obeyed him, and he was the decider of whether our actions, our behaviors were morally good or evil? Why would your God want that?
What? So why would he want us to be in charge, like be our parent? As far as his creation, like be our parent.
Like, is that what you heard me say? You heard those words come out of my mouth. I didn't say be in charge. Do you know what morality is? Do you know what it means to have a moral conscience?
Oh, I don't know about like the scientific, like maybe I don't know about the scientific, but I know good, like right, good and evil, like
that's morality. Good and evil, right? That's moral, immoral, right? How do you use your reasoning skills, right? Your critical thinking skills, to assess whether you should do a thing and whether that thing is moral or immoral, correct?
Mm-hmm.
I mean,
Yes.
is that how you, or do you just get up and act?
I
Do
use
you
my
just get up
critical
and do?
thinking skills.
Okay. And that is something that you appreciate, right? The ability to do that.
Yes.
And you appreciate that
Yes.
there are other humans on earth who can do that too. Because if they just got up and act, people would just be killing each other, raping each other, right? With no conscience whatsoever, no guilt, no shame whatsoever. Remember, they lacked shame. Before she gained this wisdom, they lacked shame. They were unwise, shameless, and naked in conscience.
Mm-hmm.
Okay? That is if we think about animalistic behaviors, right? Why would your God want a society of humans who just act on instinct? They have no wisdom, no shame, versus a society of humans who have shame when they feel shame when they do wrong. Right? They analyze their actions and say, nope, that's going to harm. That's immoral. That's moral. Why would he punish you for being that?
As far as that's a lot. Why would he? Okay, so I think the humans, yeah, when he created them, right, and he said, let's. As soon as he said, let's make man in our image, they were already made. Like humans already were already made like evil, right? Not holy, not holy. And when he him creating us at first without knowing what evil is was the initial setup, and that's what is going to be, at least from Christianity, that's what is going to be after evil is defeated. So that way when evil is no longer
I'm not talking
there
about what like the fact that your God is immoral, right? Your God wanted human beings who just obeyed him. Think about it. He's a wrathful, jealous God who at the drop of a hat drowned the whole world, had a temper tantrum and drowned the whole world, right? Without a second thought. He commanded the Israelites to go. He commanded the Israelites to go into another land and completely annihilate these people. 500 years after their ancestors had been had attacked the Israelites in Egypt, right? Like there's no expectation of you to go, no, God, I'm not going in there. Those are babies in there. That happened 500 years ago. That's immoral for me to do. You are to just obey, because if he says do it, it's good, right? But you, today as a human, somebody says God said, you go, I'm not doing that. That's immoral. Why did he not want you to have that ability? Why are you being punished for being a critical thinker?
I don't think it's I'm being okay. I don't think it's okay. So if again using the Bible as my standard, right? And the Bible tells me that those attributes, having critical thinking, are attributes of God. That's who He is, and that nobody else can create those attributes. Those
actually
attributes
no. Genesis 3:1 says the serpent had that wisdom. In Genesis 3:1 it says the serpent was subtle. Hold on. Genesis 3:1 says the serpent was more subtle than any beast in the garden that the Lord God made. In Hebrew, that word is aram. It means he was prudent. He was a critical thinker. He had reasoning skills. He was wise. So the serpent in the story had that wisdom that Eve gained when she ate from the tree. Why would your God not want you to have wisdom?
He does want. Okay. In this okay, so having wisdom is good, right? But it's okay. So you have wisdom, but in the face of evil, right? Evil existed. Like God is good, right? So He let evil test him because He's fair. So He let evil,
Were
test
they
him to see,
prepared
can
to be
I
tested? They didn't have
one more
wisdom.
time?
Were they prepared for the test? The serpent had wisdom that they lacked.
Was from God.
But
the serpent's
but your
wisdom
God,
from God.
yet your God allowed evil to test them. They lacked the wisdom.
No. God is good, right? Like He is attributes of good. He existed before before evil existed. Because He's fair, because if He exists and He has His creation and He says that I'm God Almighty, I'm the most sovereign and whatnot, how will we know that? Like who's to say that you're the most sovereign? Like the conversation we're having like right now, like where we're trying to say how do we know you know better and blah 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 blah. So that's why, because He's fair, because goodness is fair, right? It doesn't deceive people. He allowed evil to exist and test Him and His creation.
I'm sorry. I'm sorry. I know I was going to stay quiet, Luke, but you said something I want to clarify. Did you say God existed before evil?
Yes.
And God is all powerful, right?
Yes.
Did God create evil?
He allowed it to exist. I don't know about.
How can an all good, all powerful being allow evil and not become evil? Like if I could stop. So for example, one of my former friends famously said, if there was someone in a room sexually assaulting a kid and I saw it, I would intervene. But your God allows it to continue and says, I'll take care of you later.
Nah, that's not right.
I know it's not right. Why doesn't your God stop all this private sexual child abuse?
Yes.
So I don't exactly I have to think about it more why He has allowed it to draw this far. But there is something in the Bible.
Is everything that God does good?
Yes.
Then it must be good for God to allow that sexual abuse to continue, right? You have sacrificed your integrity and your humanity on the altar of a fictional story. You are now tied up in knots trying to figure out how it's okay to permit sexual abuse. That should really hit home.
Okay, let me clarify what you're saying about that. God doesn't allow. He's not okay with sexual abuse. Right?
Seems
and
to
I'm
be.
not okay with
What's He done to stop it? Could God stop it? Could God stop it if He wanted to?
Yeah, but He's letting.
But He hasn't. But He hasn't stopped it, has He?
So that's what
has God stopped it? Has God stopped it?
He hasn't stopped it yet. But let me.
So God could stop it. You say God doesn't like it. God could stop it, but God hasn't stopped it. And you say that it's a good thing that God hasn't stopped it because God choosing not to stop it when He could must be a good thing. So now we're right back to you are saying God is doing a good thing by not stopping the sexual abuse.
Okay. So the sexual. Okay. So who is the person that's doing the sexual? God is fair, right? So He's allowing evil to test them up into a certain point. And the Bible mentions when that certain point is. He says that
allowing evil to test who? The people getting sexually abused?
No. I'm saying to this testing, this evil testing Him, right? To see if He is sovereign, if He is God, if He will win, win in the end. there's a certain number up and it go. I think it's in Revelations. I think it's, or maybe it's not in
Wait,
Revelation.
are you saying evil is testing your God's sovereignty?
Yes, it's trying to see, like, you know,
by
evil
sexually abusing children?
Yeah, and it's cool
Good
because
people,
God is
good.
so sovereign, he can sit there and do nothing. It's like, I'm going to see if you're powerful enough to stop anything. And God's like, I'm not going to do nothing. You go right ahead and sexually assault some more people. Your God's a piece of shit, Luke.
Exactly. And this is exactly what I mean. Why would this God want a world filled with people who won't challenge him and who will say, he can sit back. He ain't gonna, he's fair. He's a God. You better worship him. He'll protect you. But oops, I didn't really mean he'll protect you because free will. Oops,
mean-
yeah, he violated your free will because he told them to go over there and kill and rape such and such.
I mean, Luke, you're the reason we do what we do, because we used to believe the same shit you're trying to make excuses for right now. And then we realized we were making excuses for not only something that is grossly immoral, but also a story that isn't true, that is grossly immoral. You can be better than all of this.
Mm-hmm.
Can I ask you? Okay, do you guys, and hopefully you do, but do you guys have Google Earth?
Everybody has Google Earth if they've got the internet.
Okay, go on Google Earth and search up Euphrates River.
It's not
Just a
drying
quick
up.
search.
Please stop. It is not drying up. And the Euphrates River is that's like the second to the last thing in that prophecy that is supposed to happen. And then the purpose of the Euphrates River drying up in I think it's Isaiah or Jeremiah was the original ones that said, is so they could walk across during wartime. Who needs to walk across the Euphrates River today? Like, do you think America or Iran is going to be walking around waiting for a God to dry up fucking rivers so they can fight wars?
Luke, you should be absolutely embarrassed right now that not only are you twisting yourself to try to make excuses for sexual assault, but when you absolutely fail in a train wreck of logical confusion and fantasy, you decide to say, pull up Google Earth and go look at the Euphrates River. Even if the Euphrates River had completely dried up, it wouldn't prove anything about your God. It wouldn't prove anything about whether or not your God is good. Your God, if it exists, is a monster, and you should be embarrassed and absolutely chastised repeatedly, nonstop, for making excuses for the things you think this fictional being does or doesn't do.
The fact that y'all think that any human being that belongs to an antichrist is gonna walk across the Euphrates River is in fucking insane. Like, that is illogical thinking in today in 2026. They needed to think that back then. We have fucking tanks. We have planes. No one needs a God to split or dry a river for armies to cross it.
You don't have kids, do you, Luke?
No. I wasn't even gonna say the drying up part. That's the part you guys just, like, you know, did all that, and I wasn't.
What else are you going to say? Were you going to point out the Garden of Eden? Did you find the Garden of Eden?
No.
Isn't it supposed to be there, according to the Bible?
The Euphrates River was one of the rivers that flowed from it, yes. Which is interesting.
But here's the thing. But here's the thing. Well, the Garden of Eden's on Earth, right?
Mm-hmm.
Can we find it? Why doesn't Google Earth find it?
Okay, so I don't know. Okay, so I know the flood, right? The flood happened, and then we can't prove the flood happened.
No, the flood did not happen. No, the flood did not happen. There is no evidence to support the nonsense of a global flood. That is a flat lie, and it's irrelevant. I asked where the Garden of Eden was.
That's what I was trying to say. Like, I couldn't tell you because I use the Bible as my standard, and it tells me the flood happened. So,
okay, there's your problem. There's your problem. If you use the Bible as your standard, all of a sudden bats are birds, and there's a magical flood and a fucking firmament that we just blew through as we went to the moon the other day. You have an embarrassingly stupid standard that is leading you to make excuses for immorality. But let's just imagine that the Garden of Eden is here on earth. Why would you need to have angels and a sword of fire to guard it?
To prevent them coming to eat of the tree of life. That's what it said. It said,
So have we mapped the entirety of the earth?
Why hasn't it dawned on him that he's basically trying to say that the tree of life is by the Euphrates River?
I mean,
okay, so can I like just say what I was going to say about, because
no, you can't. No, you can't, Luke. No, you can't. I want you to address the fact that you. I want you to address the fact that can we find the Garden of Eden or not?
So you're not being fair because you guys.
What do you mean I'm not being fair? Fuck you, Luke. I've sat here nice and quiet while you embarrassingly suggested that it's a good thing for God to not stop sexual assault, and while you tried to pivot to Google Earth when you failed on every intellectual exercise to demonstrate that your God either exists or is good. And now I've asked you a question repeatedly, which you won't answer. How the fuck am I being unfair? Am I dishonest like the serpent wasn't?
Okay, so when you asked me about the sexual thing, I answered it, but you didn't agree. So I said, okay, I won't be able to convince them using that.
Yeah, I don't need you to explain the past. I've now muted you. I don't need you to explain what the fuck happened. We all saw what happened. It's going to live in clips on the internet forever. You are another prime example of how religions break brains. How you could be a good person, and you probably are generally a good person, and you are probably more moral than the God you're sucking up to and trying to fillet on the internet. The fictional God that you're advocating for and excusing how he's got to have a good reason. Whatever he does is good, and if he doesn't do anything to stop something, even though it must be good. And then you tried to pivot to Google fucking Earth. Well, Google Earth is mapped essentially the surface of the earth. I don't think that we found the Garden of Eden. The Mormons think it's in Missouri. Do you think the Garden of Eden is in Missouri? Yes or no?
Well, you said, do I think, well, I'm sorry, it made it beep.
I know it beeps. Do you think the Garden of Eden is in Missouri?
I have no idea. I can't even answer
Is Missouri near the Tigers and Euphrates rivers?
I don't know.
Oh, for fuck's sake. I give up. All yours, thinker. I will go back to mute. This is the stupidest.
You know damn well Missouri is nowhere near the Tigers or the Euphrates River. Like, I don't know why y'all won't let yourselves use your brains. Like, you know where the Euphrates River is. You know where Missouri is.
Hello?
Yeah, did you hear me?
Yeah, so let me just, okay, so you guys are saying that I know damn well, which, okay, let me just, a little background, right? I don't have a lot of, I'm actually adopted from Ghana, right? Adopted from Ghana with my little brother.
Where is the Euphrates? Well, are you in America right now? Where are you at? Still on the continent or in America?
Basically what I'm saying, I was raised up as a foster kid, right? So I went.
You have access to Google Earth.
I didn't have a lot of time to like.
You have access to Google Earth.
Yes, I did. I do a lot of studying.
Did you look up? Did you look up the Euphrates on Google Earth?
No, Minnesota and all that. I don't.
Did you go look up Euphrates on Google Earth before you told us to look it up?
One more time.
Did you look up the Euphrates River on Google Earth before you told us to look it up?
Yes, I did.
Have you ever looked up Missouri on Google Earth?
No.
Are you in America?
Why the fuck not?
I really don't use Google Earth like that, but I mean, I did.
Luke, are you in America or are you still in the continent?
I'm in America.
So you've heard of Missouri?
Missouri, yeah, it's one of the states.
Yeah. Is there any state touching the Euphrates River?
Let me just tell you that I'm from Ghana. That's where
I don't
was
give a
raised, my
shit
culture.
where you're from. That's irrelevant. Is there any state in the United States that touches the Euphrates River?
I don't think so. Probably no.
Oh my fucking
Probably.
God.
The fact that you are saying probably, you are dishonest right now. You know damn well that you stop.
No.
Even with you being from Ghana. You even
I
with
tell
you
you
being
what,
from Ghana.
you ain't telling my co-host no ever again. I'm going to mute you and you're going to fucking listen and you might get a chance to speak, maybe.
Even with you being from Ghana, you know damn well where the Euphrates River is on the continent. You know where Missouri is. It's in North America. You know those two things do not touch. I don't even know why you're saying probably. This is what we're talking about. You're not allowing yourself to use your mental faculties and critically think, even in just answering the questions. You allow yourself to protect the God. You forego any ability to use logic so that you can protect the God, and embarrass yourself in doing so. For what?
Hello?
You're unmuted now.
Okay, so you're actually right. Now that you just restated it, that was dumb, and that was an example of me lying, saying that because yes, the Missouri isn't here in the United States, and the Euphrates River is.
Luke.
So no, I wasn't really listening because I was pressured. Like, you know,
Luke.
That's my bad.
Luke.
My bad. I wasn't
Luke.
listening on what you.
Luke.
Go ahead.
Luke, can you hear me?
Yes.
Apology accepted. Thank you for acknowledging that you lied. Call us back sometime when you're actually wanting to listen and not lie instead of trying to defend the indefensible. Because you put yourself in a really bad position before you even lied about the Euphrates or Missouri. Because I know it's difficult to realize that when you start making excuses for the immoral shit in your holy book, that there's no way for you to stop. Because if you acknowledge any error, then all of a sudden you would then have to say, hang on, if the Bible's wrong about this, it might be wrong about other things. How do I determine that it's right when it says that I am the way, the truth, and the life, but it's wrong when it says you shall buy your slaves from the heathen that surround you? How do I determine that it's right when it says turn the other cheek, but it's wrong when it says if a man lies with a man as he lies with a woman, they've committed an abomination and are deserving of death? How do I say that it's right when you say, you know, hey, here's what you need to do in order to atone and be repentant and forgiven, but it's wrong when it says there's a flaming sword in the Garden of Eden or the earth was there first? You literally were suggesting that the serpent was deceiving when the serpent never told a lie, asked a question, told the truth, and was proven right. And then God, as is his case, threw a temper tantrum, cast them out of the garden, protected it with angels and a flaming sword, which is silly because God doesn't have to leave the Garden of Eden on earth, and apparently didn't, since we've mapped the fucking thing and we haven't found it. Go take a break, Luke. Thank you for calling. Thanks for acknowledging the error. Think about this stuff some more. We'll all calm down. And you can call into another show and maybe find a different way or a better way to defend it. We appreciate having the conversation, and I appreciate that you acknowledge getting called out. But we're done for tonight.
Thank you.
Thanks, Luke.
All right, Luke.
I know, I get that, you know, there's people, and especially, you know, when it's me and Thinker, and we're both no nonsense, take no shit people, but people often think, oh, you guys are too rough on people. And I get that. I genuinely understand it. But also, we don't start off rough.
Right.
We just start off asking questions. And it's when we're faced with dishonesty and absurdity, when we're faced with people trying to act as if it makes sense, that's when we start pushing back harder and harder and harder. And the hope is that at some point, sorry to say it, you break.
Mm-hmm.
And you realize, holy crap, did I just defend slavery? Holy crap, did I just defend not interacting to save the innocent? Holy
Exactly.
crap, what am I doing? Do I have any evidence? Do I have any reason to think this is real? Or was I just fed a bill of goods by all the adults in my life who were also victims of this? It's difficult. And it's one of the reasons why the line works with organizations like recoveringfromreligion.org, something that I cannot recommend highly enough. If you go to recoveringfromreligion.org, they're not going to try to talk you out of your religion. They're not going to argue and debate with you the way Thinker and I are going to. They're not going to push back really hard. They're there to meet you where you are and to interact in ways that you might not have access to if the only people you can talk to about this are people who already believe, your family members who are religious, your priests and clergy who are religious. Recovering from Religion gives you options outside of that, and they work with the Secular Therapy Project to help people get science-based counseling. And if you have a number of interactions with Recovering from Religion and you wind up stronger and more affirmed in your faith and more comfortable, good for you. At least you did what most people don't do, which is have the sort of difficult conversations where you're forced to take an inventory of what you believe, why you believe it, and is it a good and right thing? So for all the people who are like, man, you guys are rough, you damn right we are. And it's partly because my heart breaks every time I watch somebody's brain on religion do what Luke's just did, in part because it's probably a little triggering to what I know for a fact I did. I did it with regard to women. I did it with regard to gay people. I did it with regard to any sort of sin for all, and I bought into all the nonsense. Hey, I'm not better than you. I'm just forgiven. I'm a sinner just like you. It's just that I've repented and I trust God, and you can repent and you can trust God. And do you know where you'll spend eternity if you die tonight? I bought into every one of the tired old canards. That was my job. And that's the job I was going to do when I was studying to be a minister. So trust me, I understand. But when doubt is sin and being human is sin and loving someone is sin, fuck sin. Sin is a fiction. I can't wound a God. Any God that could be wounded by a thought of mine is embarrassingly weak. Any God that could be wounded by an action of mine is pathetic, undeserving of the God title. That's why we do what we do. And first of all, we got super chats to get to, but I just want to say a special thanks to Thinker for coming on, hang up for the first time. I will have you back pretty much whenever the hell you want to.
Yay, thank you. I
I
enjoyed it.
All right.
I was nervous, but I got through it now.
Ain't no reason to be nervous. I was talking to Arden behind the scenes while you were going at it with Luke, and I was like, I'm irrelevant now. I'm just going to sit here and try not to grin too big when she's digging in on this. But. All right. $20 from Infidel 3476. $20 for Jesus Tears. I'm in. You bet. Thank you so much, Dale.
Let's see. Oh, I forgot. Okay, it's up here. Okay. $9.99 from Greg Markowski.
Yep.
Saw Springsteen in Phoenix last week. Fantastic. Then drove to Vegas and saw a magic show. And that evening, Seinfeld. I believe Bruce is coming to Austin.
Well, if Bruce is coming to Austin, I might go. His song, I think, is the first song that genuinely made me sob in, I don't know, many, many, many years. I listened to it. Oh, I took it in. I'm getting emotional just thinking about it. When I heard it, I was overwhelmed. I walked down the hall and I had Arden play it, and I just stood there and bawled. I think there's something empowering about finally hearing protest songs. And it was type that the type of protest song that makes us optimistic that things are potentially going to change. That's Streets of Minneapolis. And
Is that the name of the song?
yeah, it is. It is about what went down in Minneapolis, and he names Renee Good and Alex Pretty, and yeah, it's an overwhelmingly good song. $10 from Mr. Big D. Mr. Big D. UO5XV. You know what? I'll take the money and grats on the D.
$9.99 from T Van 11. Nerds love Thinker. Nerds in the house. Hey y'all. Love y'all back. That's my TikTok community.
Nice. $10 from Ray Gatto. Matt, I enjoyed that magic trick they did with the ring last week. Thank you. Not to go up Penn and Teller, but I don't think you fooled me, but I love your tricks and the Matt magic should continue. Thank you, because so we do LineCon each month for our patrons. If you go to patreon.com/calltheline, you can join our Patreon project there to support what happens here. And everybody who subscribes at the $15 tier and above gets access to LineCon, which is something we do on at least one weekend a month. But I think we did a double this weekend or this month because we had to skip a month. And it is the people who work at the line will show up to give basically 20-minute presentations on stuff. And once we knock out like 3 of them, we take questions for about an hour. And I was doing one on fallacies, but I stopped and switched over to some basic principles of skepticism and taught some a magic trick with rubber bands that you can do, and talked about another trick. But yeah, thanks for
that's cool. So you do magic too?
Oh, yes. I did a 10-city tour of Canada and a 10-city tour of the US. I worked with Sean Farquhar, who's the 2-time world champion of magic, and Barry Hatfield and James Randi. And yeah.
Oh, wow.
I love some magic.
$10 from Winston Campbell. Glad to see you on the line, Arch Thinker. Remember scrolling in months ago and then seeing a wild Kalasia 789 modding, and I'm like, I know you. Matt YG, what is that?
YGH is your gay homie.
Oh, GFY.
Go fuck yourself.
Jimmy, appreciate the work all y'all do.
Yeah, the your gay homie thing started because Arden, my partner's trans, and so the easiest way for people to attack me is just be like, "Oh, you're just gay, man. You're just in denial." And I'm like, well, first of all, I don't know how gay I am or I'm not. I don't care. I don't give a shit about any labels, and I definitely don't care what you guys think. But it was funny enough that the dude just stopped in, and it was a comment on a video, and he was like, "You're gay, homie." So we printed it on a coffee mug and sold it because, you know what? I'd rather get a buck off of the bigots than let them ever. It wouldn't have bothered me. Like, does anybody think that if I was gay, I'd have any problem saying, "Hey, I'm gay"? Whatever.
Right? Yeah.
$10 from Myra Featherbender, and oh my gosh, you'll hear more about this later. I'll get right to you, Myra. I'm sorry. I live in these bigots' heads, these transphobes' heads, entirely rent-free. And the stuff that the imaginary me gets up to in their head, you would, like the sexual fantasies that they have of what I'm doing, I'm like, I'm a bad motherfucker. But Myra sent in a super chat that says, super chats for super hosts, mods, and producers. Here's some positive vibes and energy to counter Steve. Lol. Hey, Steve's got lots of vibes and energy. He just doesn't know the frequency yet. What's the frequency, Kenneth?
$10 from Weston Campbell, 1268. I need more evidence. What is it? I'm not. What is that?
Oh, sorry. I shouldn't interrupt you.
I'm not answering questions. I need evidence of what?
Midichlorians.
Midichlorians before I go train on Dagobah with the little green guy, Steve. I would do the Kessel run with the Wookiee right now, though. Also, I like the Doxy wand over the Hitachi one, Matt.
I don't have a preference. I just know that literally there's not a single woman I've been been intimate with who hasn't absolutely loved a Hitachi magic wand. And so I've never not had one around because
What does it do? The Hitachi.
it's just a huge overpowered vibrator. It's like industrial. I hear it's the shit. But
Oh. $10 from LS71 for why for you. I really appreciate both of you, Matt and Thinker. Thank you so much.
Thank you. $10 from Arcane Goat. Pretty sure debunking the Force is the path to the dark side. I thought fear was the path to the dark side, and I'm fearless. Take some of that, Charlie Chokehold.
$10 from Puri 442. I am manifesting that Mac will read this science.
Uh-oh.
Thinker did it.
What's
The
funny
Force
is
wrong. No.
I think you just falsified. Maybe we know that you're not the source of the Force. Our friend from earlier is the source of the Force. So maybe he's the only one that can manifest something.
Maybe, yeah.
Except he sent two identical super chats.
Sorry, what's that?
I said, except he sent two identical super chats, so he knew at least one time you would read.
Oh. I mean, here, hang on. That is gamesmanship of a whole nother level. And so $10 from Piriform 42. I am manifesting that Matt will read this science. I'm glad Arden jumped in because no shit. That is right up my alley and outstanding. Good job.
Yeah. $20 from Space Wolf. Here for you, Matt. Just because you don't advertise super chats all the time doesn't mean it should be held against you.
I don't hold it against me, but the other people at the line do. Yeah, Arden's back there. Yeah. $10 from Arcane Goat. God is good because the book says so. Is refreshingly honest. Fair. No Jedi, no cows, just a bad argument. Yeah, I mean, I love Paul's or the Bible tells me so. But yeah.
$10 from Porco Rose. Oh, using the Force to manifest $10 for the line. Probably a dark side move, but whatever.
There we go. May the Force be with you. Yeah. And also with the caller.
Every time we read that, I have my head go in my mind. It says, "May the Force be with you." Every time.
From the Atheist Mechanic. Hey, man. Hope you're doing well. It's always a little amusing when theists go to describe an evil being and end up describing the God of the Bible to a T. It's a bit telling. Yeah. Oh, I'm going to flood the entire world and kill everybody except for a drunk, his wife, his 3 sons, and their wives, and then they're going to repopulate everybody. Oh, wait, what are those people down there doing? They're building a city with a tower, and they're working together. Well, if we don't put a stop to this, there'll be nothing they can't accomplish. So let's go change their language and scatter them to the 4 winds. Oh, I want the whole world to love me? Well, no, I'll just have my chosen people, and then I'll come down and sacrifice myself to myself, but only for my chosen people, until later it gets respun so that it's maybe for everybody, but only the everybody that I choose, because salvation is a gift of God by God's grace through faith, lest any man should boast. There's absolutely nothing you can do, including saying the sinner's prayer, that guarantees that you are on God's list. It's up to God.
Yep. Sadistic. $10 from Winston Campbell. Maybe I'm just weird, V, but when I hear the word mind, I think of the organ that through a process of complex carbon chains results in a conscious and subconscious mind. I don't think of something else.
Yeah, that's just why one of the reasons why I jumped in on that, because while it was interesting kind of listen, it got to a point where it's clear we're having some half-formed thoughts from somebody who's just kind of getting into it, and that's fine. Everybody's got to start somewhere.
Yeah.
But generally, I tend to describe the mind as what the brain does. And one thing we know about, like, it wasn't just asking V this. I've asked tons of people, and there's people who've written entire books on this. There is no feature attributed to a soul that is identifiably real that is not a function of the mind.
Mhm.
The only feature attributed to the soul that isn't a function of the mind is that it can survive our death, which is
Yeah.
the one thing that they can't prove. If you want to say my likes, my preferences, not only are all those things a product of my mind, but they are manipulatable physically. If you split the corpus callosum, you end up with two personalities communicating independently. You can probe different parts of your brain and change your likes, your desires, your preferences, your memories. You can get hit or kicked in the head by a horse and have who you are completely rearranged, reset. How does any of that make any sense? Is there now a soul in my brain after I get kicked by the horse that is desperate to control and love Jesus, but after I got kicked by the horse, my brain keeps operating as a godless heathen? How is that
Right.
even possible?
It
And if
doesn't
that's
make sense.
possible for my brain to do without a soul, then clearly the soul is irrelevant to what the brain does.
Yep. It doesn't make any sense. Because they never think about when people get like brain cancer or Alzheimer's or like that should affect the soul. At $10 from Dust Frame 7331. Magic is real, Matt. I know a guy that can detach and reattach his thumb. Love seeing Thinker on the line.
I don't detach my thumb. I detach my finger
Oh wow.
like that.
Oh, okay. Looks good. Interesting.
$10 from Joshua Everett, Thinker and Matt. You both have really good screen chemistry. It's like you've been co-hosting for years. It's been a great show so far. I'm not going to disagree with you.
Yeah. I feel right at home.
Good.
$10
You
from
can
Winston.
take over for me when I go on vacation.
Oh, that'll be fun. $10 on Weston Campbell. A personal relationship with reality has brought me more joy than any kind of woo. Sometimes to ground myself, I'll listen to Arona's.
Aaron Ra.
What? Aaron Ross?
Yeah, they just left a space out. It's Aaron Ra.
Oh, systematic classification of life. Interesting how brains change.
Yep. By the way, I don't know if I'll ever get to take a vacation, but yeah, if I do, we got plenty of candidates, including Thinker, to sit in while I go do something fun. Except that this is fun and it's kind of like my therapy. So, congrats.
Yeah, absolutely.
Dank Beam 6254, $10. Thank you so much. God is actually a sponge that filtered the universe out of the void. How do I know this? It was filtered into my brain. Also, sponges are my favorite animal, not related at all to my answer. And actually, I'm one of those people that constantly, it's not a surprise. I've known this since I was a little kid. I always forget that sponges are animals. I don't know why that doesn't, I mean, as soon as somebody says it, I'm like, oh yeah. Oh, I should read this one. $20 from Sheriff Dabbler. Matt ran from Andrew Wilson because he knows he can't be a jerk to him like he is everybody else. Hilarious how you atheists run when your own disgusting behavior is mirrored back at you. Thank you for acknowledging that Andrew Wilson is a disgusting jerk who lied about a debate, who conceded the debate point, who mocked trans people's suicide. However, I didn't run. I stated my position and why I wasn't going to engage with the weak ass. Well, at this time, I didn't know how weak he was. Like he can't open a jar and he doesn't know what a trilemma is or that it can't be true. And there's a lot of me and a lot of dudes, just like, ooh, dudes going at it. I'm a little tired of dudes going at it and watching Andrew get his ass kicked over and over by girls and how much it really hurts his feels. That's absolutely worth it. Plus, I'm really glad to live rent-free in your head where you can imagine that I ran instead of walking out with integrity from a fascist piece of garbage whose fans keep trolling me years later while I continue to live my life and be successful. Thanks,
I need
Sheriff.
you guys to know that this guy has sent like $50 over the last 2 weeks in super chats saying stuff like this. He is so
Awesome.
desperate to have Matt notice.
Hey, by the way, Sheriff Dabbler, I'm going to start doing lives on my own channel. If you're not subscribed, you definitely should, because I'm happy for you to come over and give more money to me and continue to embarrass yourself and Andrew Wilson, because I don't have to do any work. I make money, and you make yourself and Andrew look terrible and make me look great. Like, I could put up a poll now about when your own disgusting behavior is mirrored back to you. You think my behavior is disgusting and it was mirrored back to me? I've never mocked anybody's suicide. I've never lied and accepted a debate and then conceded the terms and only changed it to something else. It's amazing, this fictional story that you guys built up, where you basically admit what a piece of shit Andrew Wilson is and then try to pretend that I am too. When, okay.
Well, they're paying money to you,
Yeah,
to whine about you.
I'm waiting for them
Win-win.
to start paying me for pics of my feet or something.
Yeah.
It's something next.
A win is a win. 2517 from Elison. Elison. The aliens speak to me too. Elgin son?
That's the $25.17 that the aliens told me someone was going to donate. Thank you so much, Elgison or El
I will
Hison.
fuck up a name.
I don't know, but it's $25.17. That's
Yeah.
perfect. Hey, by the way, here's another $25.17 from Green. Oh, I want to say that's Green 31 OSU. Okay, I got you. For our alien overlords. Thank you very much, Green. Green 31.
$9.99 from Rip Anol. Luke's God is the demiurge, who is an arrogant fallen entity. That's the only explanation for why the Old Testament God is so different from Jesus.
It's really weird because Thinker was pointing out how she can see 6 different Jesuses, and that's without even including the Old Testament God that Jesus
Right.
supposedly is also. Atheist Mechanic, another $10. Thank you. God is not good in any sense. I'm tired of hearing people say this. I'm also tired of this new trend where there's sort of this liberal, hippie, woke, fictional version of Christianity. I mean, don't get me wrong. I think this is the best Pope we've ever had. And I agree with a number of things that this Pope has said. And good for you. I hope your eminence, or however you'd like to be addressed. Hey, Leo, fix the corrupt criminal organization that you're in charge of. Don't just keep shoveling stuff under the rug and moving child assaulting priests around from one location to the other. Start making amends. Do you think the world would be better off with Vatican City turned into a place where people could go and live free instead of this gilded Trump-esque competing scenario? I think it was maybe it was Sarah Silverman who said that it would be better for them to sell the Vatican and turn it into a homeless shelter. And I agree.
Yeah.
But I love what Leo says about war and conflict and stuff like that. How cool would it be to have a Pope destroy Catholicism and actually make the world better?
That would be amazing. Is that the last one? Oh, $10 from Weston Campbell. None of my 2026 bingo cards included Arch Thinker. Scrolled into her live months ago, becoming a GOAT duo like Matt and Promise. Arden, Heart, After Dark, and Thinker Show would be vibes are real. Thank you. Thumbs up, vibes are real. I can barely see that.
Well, I can pretty much guarantee that you're not going to see Arden on anything. But if it ever does happen, I think Thinker's somebody that she would like to do a show with if she did.
Yes, absolutely. Maybe one day in the future when I'm back at doing shows.
Ooh, she said when, not if.
Cool. Yeah.
We are all better off.
I'm back at doing shows.
You said when. You said when. It's too late. I will hold you to it. $50 from Mortal Wear. Thinker's point hit home. If gaining the knowledge of good and evil is disobedience, then shouldn't all Bible believers be striving to be amoral as God initially intended? Thank God it's all BS. Yeah. Facts.
$20 from Elect Bass. Donation for modeling what it looks like to take responsibility and to sincerely apologize for misgendering someone based on empathy, which is probably what trolls miss about when pronouns are asked of them. Joel.
Yeah, I feel really bad.
Yeah.
But you do what you can. You realize you made a mistake. You apologize. No reservations. No, oh, I was confused by this. Or, I fucked up. And I need to pay more attention to that. Done deal. $10 from SJL. I made a joke in chat about biblical AI being created. I already did a video where I talked to one apologist, AI apologist. Actually, Justin talked to the same one, I think. I'm horrified, although I have no idea why I was surprised. They're embarrassing bad. I've interacted with better AI bots by an order of magnitude than the ones they're using for the apologetics.
Mm. They sit in the lives on TikTok, like thousands of them, with the AI reading the Bible to them, and they're gifting the AI. Like whoever's behind that account is making some money.
I think we're on to the next one.
I know. I'm sorry. There we go.
$10 from Weston Campbell. Never heard of Missouri. I only know of Missouri being north of Arkansas. Maybe Luke should do more research on his existential crisis rectangle so he can better defend what he believes.
$10 from Bobby Keniston. Good to see you again tonight, Thinker. And my assessment from Chewed Gum is only confirmed. You are awesome, even though you did call me Carlos. And Matt, always a pleasure. Well,
it was yesterday.
Thanks, Carlos.
I thought you forgave me. No. $10 from Aliyah Ashana Silverbow. I hope I said your name right. When I'm bored, I like to switch all the labels on my family's spice rack. I'm not in trouble yet, but the time is coming. Welcome to the Line Thinker.
$10 from Nikita Randall. Matt, you should check out Ice on the Road by Pinkbeard.
Mm-hmm.
Okay.
Yeah.
Thinker, excellent work. Nerd out. All right, give me just a second. Don't take that down. I want to make sure I type it in correctly.
That's another one that'll make you cry.
Hot ice on the road. I mean, popped up some AI instructions for how to remove ice from the road. There we go. Also, I will check that out. Ooh, I dig the pink beard. I've had a pink beard before. Also, way up high on my list is Join Ice.
But did you say Join Ice or Joan
Yes.
Ice?
Join Ice.
That's another song.
It's a song by
It's like
Jesse
a parody
Wells.
song, though. It's not.
Oh, okay.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Okay. $10 from Legally Mod. This is just for Matt, referencing one of my favorite REM songs. I wrote one. It's on my TikTok. It's called Ice in the Cup. Yeah. It's like, I don't want no fucking ice in my cup. I like my CDs neat.
Nice. $10 from Joshua Everett. Ezekiel 25:17 is the basis for Pulp Fiction Bible verse that Hegseth said as a prayer last week. Okay. Let me just say this. Hegseth is a dipshit. But my understanding is that military organization took the quote from Pulp Fiction, the Ezekiel 25:17 quote, that is not accurate in Pulp Fiction, and they rewrote it to conform to their job. Pete Hegseth was reading their rewrite. And to be fair, he said this: I don't think that motherfucker knows what's in Ezekiel 25:17 at all. But I also don't think it's fair to say he thought he was actually reading a twist on 2517. Maybe he did, maybe he didn't. I'd rather go after Keg's Breath, for all the shit that he does that's actually bad. If he wants to pretend like he's Samuel L. Jackson for a minute, cool. That's 1 minute that he didn't spend bombing somebody. Fucker.
$10 from Winston Campbell. In my mind, you live on 10,000 square feet of land with 3,000 square feet of reptile breeding exhibiting facility. You pay the electricity and general maintenance, so your rent in my head is not free.
By the way, Ezekiel 25:17 does include that. It just doesn't include the path of the righteous man is beset on all sides by the blah, 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 blah. But the ending, here's what Ezekiel 25:17 actually says, is talking about Philistines. And I will execute great vengeance upon them with furious rebukes, and they shall know that I am the Lord when I lay my vengeance upon them. So that thing that Jules does, that part is the verse. The other stuff is shit he made up to sound like a badass, a bad motherfucker, just like it says on his wallet.
Don't be too mean to this chatter, okay? I think you might like it.
Okay, $10 from Sheriff Dabbler. No one ever stands up to you and spend money is one of the benefits of having a real job, unlike most of you online fascist leftists. Where was your appearance on Joe Rogan?
I won't go on Joe Rogan because Joe Rogan is an absolutely cartoonish idiot. And he used to actually admit it a little more. But it's funny that you talk about having a real job. You do know that not only did I have multiple real jobs while I was still in high school, but then I did 8.5 years in the Navy. And then when I got out of the Navy, I came down and I worked countless hours for Dell and did all of that for a number of years, and then worked for a number of different software companies, and took a pay cut to do this because it's more important. Instead of being proud, don't get me wrong, by all means, keep donating to Stand Up to Me. Someday I might pay attention to you and remember your name. Andrew Wilson won't. Oh, unless you are Andrew, which is what I suspect, of the dozens of sock puppets. So I'll post a video on YouTube, and Andrew Wilson's fans or sock puppet accounts will come over, and you can always tell who they are because they've never commented on anything. They're YouTube accounts with 3 subscribers that don't have a post in 8 years. They're all sock puppet accounts that were dead accounts. It's hilarious. And they'll come over and say stuff like that. Hey, give me your money. I will read whatever ridiculous shit you want and trust that my audience is smart enough, unlike you and Andrew, to get it.
So they've been doing this for years?
Oh, yeah.
Wow.
Yeah. Arden and I used to do debates with Modern Day Debates, which is a garbage train wreck of a platform where they put basement dwelling flat earthers and fascists and Muslims who make excuses for marrying and consummating marriages with 4-year-olds. Yeah, for anybody who go watch my debate with Daniel Hikikachu, where he said I wouldn't say it to his face, and I stood up and walked over and said it to his face. Any of you guys that are thinking that I'm afraid and I run from stuff, I mean, these are absolutely vile people, and I regret ever working with that organization because not only did it fundamentally change debates online, so that it became just the bottom of the barrel trash, offering sensationalizing to get clicks and money, but they made money off of my work and kept putting me up against delusional people and then eventually fascists. There's nothing about it that's good, or it is sad. But you know what? Keep showing all you Andrew Wilson fans that are still butthurt that instead of dignifying his fascist shitty stuff, by actually engaging him, I showed the world that he's beneath contempt, beneath my attention, undeserving of anybody else's attention. And it's only you sycophant little suck-ups who are trying to tongue his taint who keep trying to pretend like anything different happened.
I have one of those too, Matt. I'm not gonna say that asshole's name, but I have I have one of those. He edited a discussion that he had on my page, like maybe 9 months ago. Made a video and was like, "I humbled the thinker," and now my like anywhere I go, they flood my content with shit like what the last guy did. But I thought they would at least move on after a while. But you said they still doing that shit after years?
Oh, yeah. No. Even Ray Comfort's fans didn't hang around this long.
Goodness gracious. Do I read this? Have we read this one already?
Maybe I was going to read it. Dank memes, if I were to make the epitome of evil, I would use God as my starting template. Only need to make him slightly more evil. That's why I asked that question. You think there's an evil being and a good being. How did you decide which is which? And if you read the Bible, the Bible would hold that you think God is good because God wrote his moral code on your heart. But if I wrote my moral code on your heart, you'd think I was good. And if Satan wrote his moral code on your heart, you'd think Satan was good. So the criteria that they're using is either flawed in that the being is telling you they're good and you're using their own statement as a standard for it, or you are using your own impression of how you feel about good and evil, which puts you on the exact same footing as all the rest of us. And I find your God to be a repugnant piece of crap. It doesn't exist anyway, but.
$10 from Melotone Ale, pronounced like Lady Gaga would say it. Alejandra.
It's Melotone Ale.
Oh, Ale.
Alejandra.
Oh, okay. I have 3 cats, Anakin, Ahsoka, and Sabin. Is it Sabine? Is the force in my house strong enough to manifest an arden in thinker stream? Arden.
Listen, y'all. I'm on an indefinite hiatus, okay? I absolutely for sure not in the next like 6 to 7 months, but I don't know. I'll have to wait to see where I am after I get recovered from surgery.
Oh, we love Melatonin LA. Thank you so much. Hope we get to see you again. $10 from Carl Dark. A ball peen hammer isn't meant for use on your balls or your peen. Thank you for coming to my TED Talk. That is a great way to end this. Well, let me just say, no bullshit, no nothing. I had so much fun tonight. Can't wait. I'm looking forward to you doing more with Sarah on evangelicals and getting you back on here when we can. Please, I will say a goodbye at the end, but let people know where else to find you other than here on the line, and we'll let go after that.
So I am also on TikTok and YouTube at Arch Thinker. Sunday, Monday, Tuesday, and Thursday nights. Third shift is when I have my discussions where all the crazies sleep and then the critical thinkers are up thinking.
Awesome stuff. If you guys like what happens here, and you want to contribute, well, you can watch. You can spread the word. You can let people know what's going on. You can become a patron producer by going to patreon.com/calltheline. You can get yourself some merch like my mug and other people's mugs at alignmerch.com, although some of them are specials only for the Christmas fundraiser or the RFR fundraiser. And pay attention because there'll be more line cons, and we're going to be doing a fundraiser for recovering from religion. And I'm having several special guests on in the month of May to talk about humanism, spirituality, recovering from religion, and more. Thank you guys for tuning in. Thank you for making my Wednesdays awesome. Go. Be good.